Chapter 1368. In addition, this young man was extremely arrogant, claiming that he had only broken through to the immortal king realm a few years ago. In the Battle Saint Palace, he was invincible among those at the same level as him. Right now, he actually wanted to challenge a mid-stage immortal king from their Battle Saint Palace. Below, the expressions of the young man and woman earlier grew unsightly. This fellow was simply too arrogant. But given his strength, it was truly impossible for him to leave. My Battle Saint Palace will definitely kill him to establish our might. The young man spoke in a low voice. After that, from afar, another figure flew over, facing off against Qin Wentian. The aura radiating from this person was extremely shocking, causing the entire space to tremble violently. Clearly, his cultivation base was very high, higher compared to Qin Wentian, already at the mid-stage of the immortal king realm. His eyes were full of spirit, and his gaze seemed to carry with it the might of battle, giving off an unfathomable feeling. Since you want to challenge a mid-stage immortal king, let me test your strength then. That person spoke. After that, the laws of heaven and earth trembled violently as a towering battle aura filled the air. Qin Wentian felt an immense pressure boring down on him. It was extremely terrifying. A mid-stage immortal king from the Battle Saint tribe naturally wouldn't be weak. The combat prowess of this person would surely be shocking. His opponent blasted out with his palm as boundless law energy churned violently in the air. After that, a terrifying palm imprint directly descended from the sky, slamming towards Qin Wentian, exuding a majestic aura that shook the heavens and earth. This gigantic palm imprint blotted out the sky. There was basically no way to evade. Qin Wentian's body radiated a divine glow as terrifying light circulated around him. With him as the center, the energy of heaven and earth in the surroundings transformed into towering law energy. He lifted his palm and similarly blasted out a gigantic palm imprint, causing the sky and earth to tremble. A deafening sound of collision rang out. Although they were fighting in the air, it still caused the eardrums of the people below to tremble. When they inclined their heads and stared at the sky, their hearts were filled with shock. The mid-stage immortal king released his law domain, instantly enveloping Qin Wentian within it. The depth of his cultivation base was reflected in his various abilities. His law domain and body of laws were even more terrifying. He wanted to use his law domain to directly suppress Qin Wentian. Kill! Within the law domain, a heaven-shaking battle might could be felt. The experts of the Battle Saint tribe cultivated the Battle Saint art and had awakened their sacred bones. The energy they cultivated was very similar to each other. Although the attributes of their laws might be different, they would still use the battle law domain of the Battle Saint art as the foundation to strengthen their own law energy. The law domain of this expert was somewhat similar to the one before, but it was even more violent and terrifying. His combat prowess was even more tyrannical and tyrannical. Numerous gigantic palms slammed together, slamming towards Qin Wentian, wanting to kill him within this domain. At this moment, Qin Wentian also felt a huge pressure. He released his law domain as devil might towered up into the sky, engulfing everything in its path. A fearsome might circulated around him as numerous ancient characters manifested. These characters were actually in the form of palm imprints, erupting forth with destructive might as they blasted out in all directions. In just an instant, rumbling sounds shook the heavens and earth. At the location where Qin Wentian's body of laws was located, his law domain was the strongest, directly shattering the corrosive might. After that, his law domain expanded outwards, clashing against the law domain of his opponent. Palm imprint. The middle-aged man frowned. This palm imprint gave him a sense of familiarity. The heavens and earth changed as law energy surged, blotting out the sun. Qin Wentian's law domain gradually took form, transforming into a gigantic black palm that exuded a tyrannical suppression might, wanting to destroy everything. This black palm imprint descended from the sky, slamming towards the mid-stage immortal king. That mid-stage immortal king had a look of shock on his face. With a roar of rage, the Battle Saint bone in his body shone with boundless battle light. With a lift of his hand, he activated the law energy of the heavens and earth. With a howl of rage, a divine ape manifested in his body, manifesting a gigantic palm imprint that blasted out, clashing against the tyrannical might of his opponent's law domain. Boom! The heavens and earth trembled as the space was on the verge of shattering. The two of them were engulfed by the chaotic law energy. When everything dissipated, they were still standing proudly in the air, staring at each other. "Come with me," only to see that at this moment, that mid-stage immortal king suddenly spoke. After that he turned and stepped out. Qin Wendian smiled and followed after him. This scene caused a look of bewilderment to appear on the faces of everyone. What situation was this? At this moment, the battle suddenly stopped? Could it be that they really wanted to recruit Qin Wendian into the Battle Saint Palace? And for those from the Battle Saint tribe who awakened their saint bones, they silently left. They also discovered some clues. That gigantic black palm imprint seemed to be some kind of innate technique from the legends. At the peak of the Battle Saint Palace, there were many sacred halls. Even for the upper echelons of the Battle Saint Palace, they weren't allowed to enter easily. But at this moment, Qin Wendian actually came here. After passing through many checkpoints, they arrived at the depths of the sacred hall. Before this, Qin Wendian's immortal sense didn't manage to discover this place. Clearly, his immortal sense was blocked. He knew that this place was where the true ruler of this world was located. "Can you tell me now?" "For you?" that mid-stage immortal king asked. "Haven't you already guessed it?" Qin Wendian laughed. "Let me bring you to meet the tribe leader." The mid-stage immortal king glanced at Qin Wendian. Every world of the Battle Saint tribe had a tribe leader that governed everything. In the second world, the Palace Lord of the Battle Saint Palace was merely an expert from the Battle Saint tribe. As for the tribe leader, he was the one who had absolute control over everything. The two of them continued on their way. Qin Wendian came to the cultivation location of an old man. The old man was currently staring at a chessboard on the ground in a daze. This chessboard was incomparably complicated and contained the intent of the Great Tao. "Earlier, that attack manifested from your law domain. What was it?" That old man lowered his head as he asked. "God's hand." Qin Wendian's body circulated with a divine glow. He stretched out his palm as a terrifying aura gushed forth, akin to the palm of a divinity, exuding boundless might. God's hand manifested from the Battle Saint art. Qin Wendian spoke in a low voice. "Your combat prowess isn't bad." The tribe leader inclined his head and stared at Qin Wendian. "Also, you are very young. Did you come from the first world?" "Yes, I went to the first world before coming here." Qin Wendian nodded. "In that case, I should address you as Saint Lord." The old man stood up. Qin Wendian humbly spoke. "Senior, there's no need to be so polite. You can just call me Wendian." The old man nodded lightly. "Actually, I don't agree with the methods of our ancestor. Although the first-generation Saint Lord has given our tribe a new lease of life, he is after all the first-generation Saint Lord. It's very difficult to find another character like the first-generation Saint Lord. I originally felt that the Battle Saint tribe should have their own experts temper themselves and roam the world. At the same time, we should preserve our tribe's bloodline, ensuring that the flames of our tribe won't be extinguished. As for the future Saint Lords, no matter how outstanding their talent is, we have no way to know how far they would be able to reach. In addition, there's no way to guarantee the character of the next Saint Lord. Although the people of our Battle Saint tribe will listen to the orders of the Saint Lord and there will only be benefits to the Saint Lord, the time is too long. It's unknown how many years the Saint Lords have experienced. As long as there's a major change of events, we wouldn't be able to afford the price. Qin Wendian nodded his head lightly. The old man was right. After countless years, no one would know what would happen. I don't have any other meaning in saying this, I'm just feeling a little rueful. Since Saint Lord is here, I will naturally order my people to follow you. Even if I don't agree with the methods of our ancestor, my Battle Saint tribe will still follow the rules. In addition, there are also some treasures in the second world. If Saint Lord needs them, you can take some with you. Senior is too polite. I don't lack resources and I won't take the treasures. If the immortal kings of the Battle Saint tribe aren't willing to leave with me, I won't force them either. I will definitely not divulge the secret of the Battle Saint tribe. Qin Wendian calmly spoke. He naturally needed to borrow some of the power of the Battle Saint tribe before coming here. After all, this was a power that belonged to him. However, from a certain perspective, there's no such thing as an undeserved reward. Right now, he truly didn't have any contributions to the Battle Saint tribe. This was merely an illusory promise. At his current cultivation realm, his view of many things had changed. He wouldn't force others. If the Battle Saint tribe wasn't willing to follow him, he wouldn't force them. However, with regards to the wishes of the Battle Saint tribe, it had nothing to do with him. Cheetah and the others had once served him before. He would only promise to take care of them and do his best to help them. The old man stared at Qin Wendian in bewilderment. Can you really do this? Qin Wendian laughed. Senior, I've cultivated for less than 200 years and reached my current cultivation realm. Although I don't dare to say that I'm outstanding, it wouldn't be easy to find someone in the Battle Saint tribe with a higher talent than me. Right now, although I need to borrow the strength of the Battle Saint tribe, if you go out, you will know that the use of immortal kings to me is limited. I have immortal emperors behind my back, and in addition, the Battle Saint tribe is willing to serve me. Although they might be able to help me now, in the future when I reach a certain level of cultivation, I will return the favor to the Battle Saint tribe. For example, those people I brought out from the First World back then, I will be the one taking care of them in the future. Hence, from a certain perspective, I, Qin, am not taking advantage of the Battle Saint tribe. How much I obtain now, I will repay the Battle Saint tribe in multiples in the future. On the other hand, if the Battle Saint tribe isn't willing to follow me, I won't have to shoulder this mission anymore. Because of the past Saint Lords, the Battle Saint tribe wouldn't lack me. But at the same time, without the help of the Battle Saint tribe, my life wouldn't be too different. The old man stared at Qin Wendian as his eyes gleamed. He felt that the past Saint Lords had taken advantage of their Battle Saint tribe. Hence, he said these words to Qin Wendian because he hoped that Qin Wendian would be more loyal to the Battle Saint tribe in the future and not be too arrogant before the experts of the Battle Saint tribe. After all, the ones they would be following this time around were all immortal kings. Who would have thought that a single sentence from Qin Wendian caused him to be speechless? Chapter 1369. The two of them spoke in a reserved manner. But if one were to be more direct, he could say that the previous Saint Lords of your tribe have taken advantage of my Battle Saint tribe and my Battle Saint tribe still has to bear the risk. Qin Wendian replied that this was originally a transaction. No matter how many benefits I gain now, I will return even more in the future. I didn't take advantage of your Battle Saint tribe at all. If you don't wish to follow me, I don't mind. I'll respect your choice, but the future of the Battle Saint tribe has nothing to do with me. How arrogant! The old man silently mused. After that, numerous figures flashed as many immortal kings arrived. They had been listening to the conversation here, and all of them had different gazes when they stared at Qin Wendian. Senior, you guys can consider for 2 hours. I will wait outside. Whether or not you are willing to follow me, and how many experts are willing to follow me, Junior will not interfere. I will respect the choice of the Battle Saint tribe. However, there's one thing I want to remind you. If you choose to follow me, Junior doesn't wish for any unhappiness to occur. Naturally, I will also respect those who are willing to follow me. After Qin Wendian spoke, he turned and left. It was like he was really as indifferent as he said and would respect the choice of the Battle Saint tribe. After Qin Wendian left, the immortal kings of the Battle Saint tribe exchanged mutual glances. The old man was stunned as well. This fellow is truly arrogant. An immortal king spoke in a low voice. Indeed, but his strength is also very powerful. If it's really like what he said, breaking through to the immortal king realm only a few years ago and cultivating for less than 200 years, his talent is truly terrifying. Another immortal king spoke. Such a person would naturally be arrogant. Before this, the tribe leader initially wanted to make him feel that he owed the Battle Saint tribe. Clearly, he was extremely unhappy in his heart and felt that it wouldn't affect him if the people of our tribe chose to follow him or not. What do you guys think? The tribe leader glanced at everyone. The people here were all immortal kings of the Battle Saint tribe. At this level, they already had the ability to shake the heavens and earth and have lived for many years. Wanting them to be like the immortal foundation experts who were willing to follow Qin Wenyan willingly was naturally much more difficult. After all, many of the people here were at a higher realm than Qin Wenyan. I'm used to being unrestrained. I can't accept being ordered around like this, a celestial king said with a smile, indicating that he would not follow Qin Wenyan. This is the order of our ancestors. Even if we wanted to change it, it would be difficult. If we refused to follow him, it would be the same as missing out on this generation's holy lord. But if fate doesn't change and we have to follow a generation's holy lord, I think we shouldn't miss out on this child. Indeed, for him to be able to say what he said earlier, it means that he is very ambitious and has very strong confidence. People expressed their opinions one after another. Some were unhappy with Qin Wenyan, while others thought that he was worth following. However, for those who felt that Qin Wenyan was worth following, there were also those who didn't want to follow him. After all, they had their own pride, and earlier, Qin Wenyan's words were very absolute. As long as they followed him, they would have to listen to all of his orders. In this matter, he was extremely domineering. That clan leader listened to the opinions of everyone. After that, he spoke, "Summon all the immortal kings out there back as well. Since you all put it this way, I will respect your choices. For those who are willing to follow him, go ahead. For those who aren't, stay behind. This is your choice." Everyone nodded. At this moment, Qin Wenyan walked out of this space and stood outside the Great Hall. Before he came here, he already guessed that this trip wouldn't be as smooth as the first world. Hence, he directly broke through the barrier and revealed his strength before the experts of the Battle Saint tribe. Reality was just like what he had guessed. Wanting immortal kings to follow him willingly wasn't an easy matter. But he also wouldn't force them, allowing the Battle Saint tribe to make their own decision. Time flowed by bit. Qin Wenyan only gave them 2 hours. He had no way to ascertain what choice the Battle Saint tribe would make, but he would accept it no matter what. During these 2 hours, more people came by, walking past Qin Wenyan. All of them were powerful characters at the Immortal King realm. Even before the 2 hours were up, the tribe leader of the Battle Saint tribe walked out. Has the tribe leader made a decision? Qin Wenyan smiled. Saint Lord. That tribe leader called out, his words causing a faint smile to appear in Qin Wenyan's eyes. Saint Lord, there are still many experts of our tribe who are out tempering themselves and have yet to return. What I can tell you now is that there will be many immortal kings who will follow you back. But as for the exact number, we still have to wait for the people of our tribe to return before we can be sure. Saint Lord, can you wait for a few more days? Qin Wenyan spoke. Qin Wenyan thought for a moment before he smiled and nodded. It was true that it was impossible for all the immortal kings of the Battle Saint tribe to gather within the tribe. Since this is the case, I will roam around the second world. Tribe leader, give me a deadline and I will return by then. Qin Wenyan spoke. 7 days. Saint Lord, you don't have to go out. I can get the people of the Battle Saint Palace to accompany you. The tribe leader spoke. That's fine as well. Qin Wenyan nodded. Since the people of the Battle Saint tribe were willing to follow him, he naturally didn't want to be too unfamiliar with them. He might as well stay in the Battle Saint Palace. In any case, 7 days would pass in the blink of an eye. Saint Lord, please follow me. The mid-stage immortal king who fought against Qin Wenyan earlier walked over. He stretched his hand out and gestured to Qin Wenyan. Qin Wenyan nodded and stepped out, heading towards the various palaces of the Battle Saint Palace. Saint Lord, my name is Qi Yuan. The immortal king beside him spoke. Saint Lord, are you still angry because of the tribe leader's words? Qin Wenyan shook his head. Not really. The tribe leader didn't say anything wrong. I can understand what the tribe leader is thinking. Qi Yuan started, feeling bewildered at Qin Wenyan's calmness. Seems like Qin Wenyan could see things clearly and was very calm. You don't have to worry about my opinion of the Battle Saint tribe. I've already said that I will respect the tribe leader's choice. I will do what I should do. Why would I care about a sentence from the tribe leader? Qin Wenyan smiled, dispelling Qi Yuan's doubts. Saint Lord's state of heart is extraordinary. Qi Yuan nodded. After that, he brought Qin Wen into a residence and spoke. Saint Lord, you can temporarily rest in this residence for a few days. I will pass down the instructions. If Saint Lord has any requests, you just need to issue the command. Saint Lord can also roam around the Battle Saint Palace as you wish. Qin Wendian nodded. After that, Qi Yuan retreated and passed down the instructions. A moment later, the entire Battle Saint Palace was shaken. That young man who came to challenge the Battle Saint Palace not only didn't receive any punishment, he even became an esteemed guest and enjoyed extremely good treatment. Those young men and women who came earlier all felt bewildered in their hearts, not knowing what was going on exactly. Could it be because he chose to join the Battle Saint Palace? During these 7 days, Qin Wendian didn't go out. He quietly cultivated while waiting for news from the Battle Saint tribe. Until 7 days later, the tribe leader personally led over 10 experts to the residence where Qin Wendian was at. Tribe leader. Qin Wendian glanced at the experts before him. Other than the tribe leader of the Battle Saint tribe, there were a total of 36 others. Each of them was at the Immortal King realm and their auras were retracted. Their eyes gleamed like lightning. Saint Lord. The tribe leader nodded. After that, the Immortal Kings all nodded to Qin Wendian as well. Saint Lord. Upon seeing this scene, Qin Wendian's heart was as clear as a mirror. He knew that these people were all immortal kings who were willing to leave with him. A smile appeared on his face. 36 immortal kings and all of them were elites of the Battle Saint tribe. This was definitely a terrifying force. Saint Lord's combat prowess is sufficient to contend against mid-stage Immortal Foundation experts. Hence, the 36 immortal kings of the Battle Saint tribe are all specially selected by my tribe. Their cultivation bases are all at the mid-stage or peak stage. Among them, there are 3 who already stood at the peak of the Immortal King realm. The tribe leader spoke to Qin Wendian. Qin Wendian nodded his head silently. Seems like the Battle Saint tribe leader wanted to make up for what happened back then. The number of experts selected this time around had already exceeded his expectations. The 36 of them were all at the mid-stage or peak stage of Immortal Foundation. There are also initial stage Immortal Kings who wish to follow Saint Lord. However, I feel that even if they join forces, they wouldn't be able to win against Saint Lord. Hence, I didn't plan to allow them to follow you. Naturally, if Saint Lord needs them, I can allow them to follow you. The tribe leader continued. I have a suggestion. Qin Wendian spoke. Saint Lord, please speak. The tribe leader spoke. There are many immortal kings in the second world of the Battle Saint tribe. If there are initial stage immortal kings who wish to leave, there's no need for them to assist me. The world outside is extremely vast. There are many worlds outside the Azure Mystic Immortal realms that I have never been to before. It might not be a bad idea to allow some of them who wish to roam the world outside. There's a reason for tribe leader to be worried. If there really is a major change, at the very least, there's still the bloodline of the Battle Saint tribe in the outside world. Qin Wendian spoke. The eyes of the tribe leader flashed. After that, he nodded his head lightly. Saint Lord's words are logical. I will seek their opinions and let them decide for themselves. If they wish to leave, let them follow Saint Lord to the outside world. Right? Tribe leader can make the arrangements. Everyone, please stay here temporarily. Qin Wendian spoke. Everyone nodded as the tribe leader departed. To everyone, Wendian can be considered a junior. Since everyone is willing to follow me, I will do my best to help all of you to increase your strength and reach new heights. Follow me. Qin Wendian spoke as he walked towards the cultivation grounds. Everyone had looks of curiosity on their faces as they followed after Qin Wendian. After that, Qin Wendian took out a treasured cauldron and allowed the experts to enter. Given the talent of the Battle Saint tribe, there shouldn't be a problem for them to undergo the baptism of the sacred luminance. Qin Wendian stayed here, waiting for them to undergo the tempering of the sacred luminance. With such an army of immortal kings following him, he hoped that he could forge them into a truly powerful immortal king army. It would be best if they could grow together with him in the future, stepping into an even higher cultivation realm. After staying in the Battle Saint Palace for a period of time, everyone exited the cauldron after undergoing the baptism of the sacred luminance. The Battle Saint tribe leader had also chosen those who wanted to head out to temper themselves. Qin Wendian then led the experts from the Battle Saint tribe back. Chapter 1370. In the palace of the immortal Qianbian Gate, the Emperor of Qianbian and many experts were present, including Bai Wuya. The Thunder and Rock prefectures have already fallen. Right now, the Dongshengshan Gate is in control of them. This time around, they directly invaded the Yu prefecture and initiated a huge battle. As long as the Yu prefecture falls, our Cloud prefecture will be surrounded. The Dongshengshan Gate will surround us from all directions, and they have already started to construct teleportation arrays, allowing them to teleport to the other prefectures. The Emperor of Qianbian spoke to everyone present. Everyone had heavy expressions on their faces. They clearly knew how serious the situation was. Out of the 6 prefectures that the immortal Qianbian Gate controlled, only 3 remained. The immortal emperors and immortal kings chose not to act. But even at this level, they were clearly at a disadvantage. Hence, they were forced to retreat step by step. Right now, they were finally forced to a point where they had no path of retreat. If they retreated any further, the Dongshengshan Gate would directly attack their headquarters in the Cloud prefecture. I didn't expect the Dongshengshan Gate to be so ruthless, actually secretly mobilizing an army of immortal kings to the Yu prefecture. Also, according to our intelligence, they are doing this secretly. Not only the experts of the Dongshengshan Gate are here. Someone spoke with a cold expression. I know that we were tricked this time around. But since this is an immortal war, we can only blame ourselves for not being strong enough. The Emperor of Qianbian's expression was cold. Also, I didn't expect the Dongshengshan Gate to want to launch a decisive battle so quickly. They want to devour our immortal Qianbian Gate in a single breath. However, the Eastern Sage Immortal Sect suddenly mobilized more troops to the Yu prefecture, taking them by surprise and directly breaking through the defenses of the prefecture, killing several of their immortal kings and even injuring one of their immortal kings. They all understood the meaning behind this. The Eastern Sage Immortal Sect had launched an all-out attack. They didn't intend to drag things out slowly. Emperor, what do we do now? Someone asked. Immediately, everyone's gaze fell on the Emperor Qianbian. Everyone already knew the purpose of the Dongshengshan Gate, so the next step was how to deal with it. What do you think? Emperor Qianbian glanced at Bai Wuya, who was sitting beside him, and asked. Give up on Yuezhou. Let the remaining forces return to the Celestial Gate, Bai Wuya said. As soon as he said this, everyone's eyes flashed. What do you mean? Emperor Qianbian looked at Bai Wuya. Bai Wuya nodded his head lightly. Summon all the experts from the Supreme Moon Prefecture and Western Desert Prefecture back as well. Concentrate all our forces to the Cloud Prefecture. Since the Eastern Sage Immortal Sect wants to fight, let's set the location to be the Cloud Prefecture. The Cloud Prefecture was the base of the immortal Qianbian Gate. If all their strength was gathered there, it would be much more convenient for them to request for reinforcements. The headquarters of the immortal Qianbian Gate was also located there. They could deploy their forces at any time. The Emperor Qianbian glanced at Bai Wuya. According to their previous plan, they wanted to slowly nibble away at the strength of the Dongshengshan Gate. However, Qin Wendian's rapid growth as well as the adjudication battle caused the situation in the immortal realms to change. The Dongshengshan Gate took the initiative to launch a ferocious attack, wanting to reclaim the 13 prefectures and regain their former glory. Bai Wuya's words meant that the people of the Yu Prefecture, Supreme Yin Prefecture and Western Desert Prefecture would be retracted as well. There was no doubt that this was a decisive battle, leaving only the Cloud Prefecture and abandoning the other 5 prefectures. The gazes of everyone turned heavy. The Emperor Qianbian stared at Bai Wuya. Your words are logical. The Yu Prefecture can no longer be defended. If we still don't retreat, our losses would be even greater. Now, we can only choose a decisive battle. In that case, I will have to trouble you. Bai Wuya nodded his head. He naturally understood the meaning of the word, trouble. The immortal Qianbian Gate retreated from the Yu Prefecture. At the same time, they also retracted their forces from the Supreme Yin Prefecture and Western Desert Prefecture. For a period of time, the entire 13 prefectures were in an uproar. Back then, when the Emperor Qianbian wanted 6 prefectures, the Dongshengshan Gate finally unleashed their anger and launched a true expedition, wanting to completely annihilate the immortal Qianbian Gate. The major powers of the eastern regions were also paying attention to this battle. All emperor-ranked powers understood that this didn't merely implicate the war between the Dongshengshan Gate and the immortal Qianbian Gate, it implicated the entire situation of the eastern regions as well. One could say that for this war, the Dongshengshan Gate was determined to annihilate the immortal Qianbian Gate no matter what. Some experts with high cultivation bases started to leave the Cloud Prefecture. When the final battle between the two immortal sects erupted, the Cloud Prefecture would be engulfed in the flames of war. The Dongshengshan Gate didn't choose to directly lead their army to the immortal Qianbian Gate. Instead, they chose to surround the Cloud Prefecture, and this might affect the entire Cloud Prefecture. The people of the Cloud Prefecture were all filled with trepidation. Countless people in the cities knew what the Cloud Prefecture would be facing. This time around, Qin Wenyan didn't go through the Namhuang clan when he returned. He only used the teleportation array in the southern Phoenix Immortal City, and on the way back, the discussions he heard were all about the war between the Dongshengshan Gate and the immortal Qianbian Gate. He didn't expect that such a huge change would occur in such a short period of time after he left. Upon sensing the severity of the situation, Qin Wentian's heart sank. Many of his loved ones were tempering themselves in the Cloud Prefecture. If a war really erupted, no one would be able to predict the ending. Seems like it would be best if he sent them away. After all, his foster father Qin Chuan, Yi Qingyun, the medicine sovereign, and the members of the battle sword sect weren't strong enough to deal with a war of this level. Once they were implicated, the consequences would be catastrophic. Qin Wenyan brought the members of the Battle Saint tribe and silently returned to the immortal Qianbian Gate. Because they came here to follow Qin Wenyan, the people of the immortal Qianbian Gate naturally wouldn't care about Qin Wentian's matters. In addition, Qin Wenyan originally had many friends and loved ones. Just a few tens of them was nothing to be surprised about. After all, not everyone would be able to tell the cultivation bases of these tens of people. After making arrangements for the members of the Battle Saint tribe, Qin Wenyan went to the place where Qin Chuan and Qin Yao were. He discovered that during the time he was away, Qin Chuan, Yi Qingyun, and the others had all returned. Evidently, they sensed the change in the situation in the Cloud Prefecture and hurried back to the immortal Qianbian Gate. Foster father, sister, I was just about to look for you guys. It's good that you guys returned. Qin Wentian walked up. Wenyan, is the war about to break out? Qin Yao asked. During these days, the people of the Eastern Sage 13 prefectures were all discussing this matter. This was why they all hurried back. It should be. Later on, I will go and meet with the Emperor Lord. If the situation is too dire, I will send people to escort you guys back to our particle world. Qin Wentian spoke. If a war really broke out, he had to send his loved ones away first in case they were implicated in the aftershocks. How can we do that? Wenyan, we will face this together with you. Qin Chuan shook his head. Foster father, you guys are different from me. The aftershocks from a battle between experts are too terrifying. Even if the aftershocks landed on you, it would be a calamity. I naturally hope that we can win this war. But before the war starts, no one can predict the ending. Qin Wenyan persuaded, his words causing Qin Chuan to furrow his brows. Indeed, he heard all sorts of rumors saying that the immortal Qianbian Gate was finished and the Eastern Sage 13 prefectures would be unified once again. This time around, the Dongshengshan Gate would definitely obtain a complete victory. Right now, this was the opinion of countless people in the 13 prefectures. In fact, the vast majority of people in the eastern regions also felt this way. You guys wait for me here. Qin Wentian's silhouette flickered as he vanished without a trace. In the Monarch Palace, the Emperor Lord Qianbian already knew that Qin Wentian had arrived. Upon seeing Qin Wentian walking over, he smiled. You guys broke through. Emperor Lord. Qin Wentian nodded. Breaking through to the immortal king realm so quickly. Awesome. The Emperor Lord Qianbian praised. You want to know the current situation and how to deal with it, right? Qin Wentian nodded. The Dongshangshan Gate has been attacking ferociously. We have no choice but to fight. Right now, I've already given the order to retreat 5 prefectures to the Cloud Prefecture. Right now, the Dongshangshan Gate is also gathering troops. The Emperor Lord Qianbian spoke. I understand. Qin Wentian nodded. The two of them chatted for a while more. After that, Qin Wentian left and gathered his friends and family. Several days later, the majority of those who came from the particle world were all gathered back by him. Wentian, Qingqing hasn't returned yet. The medicine sovereign spoke to Qin Wentian. I know where Qingqing is cultivating. She shouldn't be affected by the shockwaves. I will secretly head over to see her. Senior medicine sovereign, you guys should temporarily return to your particle world first. I will get someone to escort you there. After the situation stabilizes, you can return to the immortal realms anytime you wish to. Qin Wentian spoke. The medicine sovereign nodded lightly. Isn't it too boring to return to a particle world? If I, Fatty, return, wouldn't I become a hegemon? Fatty Fanlu spoke in a depressed manner. Isn't that exactly what you want? Qin Wentian glanced at Fatty. AI, at that time, beauties would be as common as the clouds. It wouldn't be too good if all of them would rush over to my side. Fatty shamelessly spoke. Xian Exin, who was at the side, glared at him. Why don't you give it a try? After being out for so many years, the Dongshangshan Gate has long stopped paying attention to our particle world. Now that we have returned to our hometown, it's also not too bad. Qin Wentian laughed. The medicine sovereign and the others nodded. Indeed, although the particle world was very weak, it was still the place where they grew up in. Qi Yuan, I will have to trouble the few of you. Qin Wentian glanced at the experts of the Battle Saint tribe. This time around, he was sending them off secretly in case the Dongshangshan Gate set their sights on their particle world again. Qi Yuan and the others nodded lightly. The group of them mounted their divine weapons and waved to Qin Wentian before following the experts of the Battle Saint tribe. Qiyu, make a trip with me. Qin Wentian glanced at Qiyu, who was beside him. Qiyu was one of the 3 strongest experts in the Battle Saint tribe. Right now, the situation in the 13 prefectures was extremely chaotic. Although he had always been low profile and didn't expose himself, in order to prevent others from targeting him, he still asked Qiyu to escort him when he went out. In that case, even if he encountered danger, he would be able to handle it. Right. Qiyu had a middle-aged appearance and was extremely calm. He nodded in agreement. Let's go. Qin Wentian turned and departed. The monarch told him that although they were already at the gates, both sides were still making preparations. The final battle wouldn't erupt so quickly. Hence, Qin Wentian decided to make use of this free time to pay a visit to Qingqing. Chapter 1371. Mo Qingqing's eyes flashed with shyness. She spoke in a low voice. Bad fellow, you can have whatever reward you want. I'm here to visit my wife. She's cultivating in the unaging immortal mountains. Qin Wentian politely replied. Yeah, in the past, I didn't know that senior brother Chiomo's clan is actually so powerful. There are actually so many immortal kings among the experts who came here to help. Senior brother Chiomo's elders even have the qualifications to chat and drink with a peak lord. The woman from before praised again. Many people nodded in agreement. Also, on the main peak, there were people even more outstanding than Chiomo, yet none of them managed to gain Mo Qingqing's favor. Chiomo stared at the back view of Mo Qingqing. Even if she was angry, even if it was just her back view, she was still so mesmerizing. If only he could obtain her. Junior sister Qingqing, if it's such a man, it's fine even if you abandon him. Given your talent and beauty, who wouldn't want you in the palm of their hands? Mo Qingqing's countenance turned cold. These few words of his were clearly a little too frivolous. A voice suddenly drifted into Mo Qingqing's ears. At this moment, she was in her room, leaning against the railing, staring at the misty mountain range in a daze. This sudden voice caused her heart to tremble violently. Abruptly, she turned, only to see a silhouette materializing in front of her. The silhouette was smiling at her, filled with boundless gentleness and gentleness. What a good place. Qin Wenin inclined his head and stared at the unaging immortal mountains. The immortal qi here was extremely dense, like a fairyland. And the unaging immortal mountains would organize a grand pill concoction banquet once every 10 years. Some of the stronger powers, as well as the friends and family of the disciples who participated in the grand pill concoction banquet, would all be able to come and support them. That's right. The woman smiled. After that, the two of them walked over and came to a place where many people were gathered. Mo Qingqing furrowed her brows. There seemed to be too many people here. Not only for the disciples of her mountain peak, there were even disciples from the other peaks here as well. Among them, there were quite a few people who were pursuing her. On one of the peaks, the friends and family of many disciples were here. The courtyard Mo Qingqing was in was extremely quiet. She was concocting pills alone in her pill concoction room, experimenting over and over again. He walked up the stairs and entered the mountain gate. There was someone who welcomed him and asked with a smile, "Are the two of you here to support your family and friends for the pill banquet?" During these days, the unaging immortal mountains were exceptionally lively. At the foot of the mountain, there were countless experts who came here to pay a visit. Among them, there were some extremely powerful powers. These people weren't from the unaging immortal mountains, but their juniors or family members were cultivating in the unaging immortal mountains. Qiao Emo smiled. There are still many senior brothers who are stronger than me. Junior sister Qingqing, on the other hand, will definitely shine brilliantly in the field of concocting 6th-ranked immortal pills. Among them, there were a few extremely outstanding heaven's favorites. For example, the person before them was named Qiao Emo. His talent was outstanding and both his strength and alchemy skills were extremely high. Elixir feast? A look of bewilderment appeared on Qin Wentian's face. Upon seeing Qin Wentian's bewilderment, the guard explained, "This place is the unaging immortal mountains. Outsiders are not allowed to enter." Senior sister. Mo Qingqing glanced at Yi Ro. This was none other than the young woman who invited her here earlier. She shook her head, not wanting to talk about this. The guard had a look of bewilderment on his face. Since this person said that his wife was cultivating in the unaging immortal mountains, how could he not know about the elixir feast? He then asked, "Which peak is your wife from? What is her name?" "Is that true?" That guard stared at Qin Wenin. "Junior sister Qingqing is here." A young man stared at Mo Qingqing as a warm smile could be seen in his eyes. Ever since Mo Qingqing entered the unaging immortal mountains, the title of the #1 beauty of the unaging immortal mountains had already been snatched away by her. In addition to her high talent and high attainments in alchemy, she naturally became the object of admiration for many people. In other words, he wanted her to give up on Qin Wenin and choose someone else? Junior sister Qingqing. At this moment, a voice rang out. Mo Qingqing extinguished the flames and walked out as she called out, "Senior sister." "He's very busy with his cultivation." Mo Qingqing calmly replied. Any immortal emperor could become a hegemon of a region, able to influence the entire region. Mo Qingqing's eyes were slightly red, yet a radiant smile blossomed on her face. She took a few steps forward and rested her head on Qin Wentian's chest. Her arms were wrapped around Qin Wentian as she quietly felt his heartbeat. As he spoke, he and Qiyu ascended the mountain together. The scenery here was beautiful, but Qin Wentian didn't have the mood to admire it. Since he had already entered the sect, he could naturally soar through the air. Very swiftly, he arrived at the peak and with a sweep of his immortal sense, he found Mo Qingqing. "Very busy with your cultivation? Such a beautiful wife, yet she doesn't appear at such an important time? Is she thinking of cultivating?" Qiao Mo smiled. In the eastern regions, the unaging immortal emperor was definitely one of the top characters in the world of alchemy. Junior sister Qingqing has always been like this. Yi Ro smiled. The unaging immortal mountain was located at the border between the territories of the 3 hegemonic powers of the eastern regions. In the middle of the eastern sage 13 prefectures, the Supreme Sword School and the Taihua Immortal Dynasty. It was extremely famous in this region. After all, it was an immortal emperor power. What's wrong? Upon seeing the expression on Mo Qingqing's face, Qin Wendian asked. At this moment, Qin Wendian was at the foot of the unaging immortal mountain, at the entrance of the sect. More people have arrived. I wonder whose friends or relatives they are. At this moment, a group of experts was brought over. Some of them had tyrannical auras as their eyes gleamed with sharpness. Clearly, they were from an immortal king power. You broke through to the immortal king realm? Mo Qingqing gently asked. Qin Wendian once said that he would definitely break through to the immortal king realm this time around. Since he came to see her, it meant that he should have already entered the immortal king realm. Such a young immortal king, Mo Qingqing was truly proud of her lover. Mo Qingqing's countenance turned cold as she indifferently nodded her head. Qingqing, you being by my side is already the best reward. Qin Wendian gently spoke. Junior sister, are you concocting pills alone again? Although the pill concoction banquet is about to begin, there's no need for junior sister to work so hard, right? It's rare for you to have such a lively time. Why don't you go out more often? That woman smiled. I'm not sure which mountain peak we are on exactly. My wife's name is Mo Qingqing. Qin Wendian spoke. The expression of that guard froze as he stared at Qin Wendian. Mo Qingqing was very famous in the unaging immortal mountains because she was the #1 beauty of the unaging immortal mountains. The guard had seen her once before and was stunned by her beauty. Qin Wendian glanced at the path leading to the mountain peak and nodded, many thanks. Qingqing. None of them moved. Time seemed to stop. Only after a long time did Mo Qingqing incline her head. There were traces of tears on her face, but a radiant smile still hung on her face, stirring the hearts of those who saw her. Senior brother Chiao Mo himself has outstanding talent and is now already an immortal king expert. It's only normal for his clan to be powerful. I heard that his clan is located in a large city near the Supreme Sword School and he is the king of a city, ruling over an area. Someone laughed. I wonder who would be able to subdue this woman. Someone spoke in a low voice. Many men were fantasizing that it would be them. Sadly, Mo Qingqing didn't even have Chiao Mo in her eyes, let alone others. I hope that I can perform better during the pill concoction banquet and not disappoint master. Mo Qingqing smiled. The unaging immortal mountain where the unaging immortal emperor resided was located at the intersection of the 3 hegemonic powers. However, their fame had already extended to the people of the 3 hegemonic powers. There were some geniuses from the Eastern Sage 13 prefectures, Paragon Sword Sect and Taihua Immortal Dynasty who were proficient in pill concoction. All of them would head to the unaging immortal mountain to learn pill concoction. The disciples of our unaging immortal mountains are truly all elites. During these days, I wonder how many experts have come here. Someone laughed. After speaking, she directly turned and departed, causing many to be stunned. She only wanted to cultivate in peace in the unaging immortal mountains and wasn't willing to be involved in such matters. Qingqing, I'm here to see you. Qin Wendian gently pulled Mo Qingqing into his embrace as he stared ahead. In this beautiful place, the reunion of lovers was like a beautiful painting. It was just that because the unaging immortal emperor was only an initial stage immortal emperor, he didn't have the influence of the peak powers of the eastern regions. But even so, immortal emperors were still extremely rare characters. Even in the perspective of the entire immortal realms, although there were many immortal emperors were still considered to be at the peak of the immortal realms. Everyone is a disciple of the immortal mountains. Please show some respect when you speak. Mo Qingqing coldly glanced at that person. Senior sisters, Qingqing bids her farewell. Senior brother Chiao, in the upcoming pill concoction banquet, given senior brother Chiao's attainments, you would surely be able to display your brilliance, right? The woman who invited Mo Qingqing smiled. Mo Qingqing leaned on him. Her right now didn't seem like the cold beauty in the eyes of the disciples of the unaging immortal mountains. Her beautiful eyes were filled with boundless gentleness. Hence, during this period of time, The atmosphere on the unaging immortal mountain was exceptionally lively. Usually, the pill concoction peaks would be very quiet, but now, the atmosphere was filled with vitality. Every peak of the unaging immortal mountain was the same. "Enchim, how do you intend to reward me?" Qin Wendian smiled mischievously. "The unaging immortal mountains is an immortal emperor-ranked power. Could it be that I would still dare to come here to cause trouble?" Qin Wendian laughed. The disciple guarding the mountain nodded. After that, he spoke, "You can go in then." Relying on masters doting on him, he is truly as arrogant as ever. Someone spoke with jealousy. "In that case, I have to think about it properly." Qin Wendian had a radiant smile on his face, still hugging the woman he loved tightly. He walked to the railing and stared at the scenery in the distance. It was as though he could feel the loneliness Mo Qingqing felt earlier. And as expected, someone immediately spoke. That's right, junior sister Qingqing rejected many of her fellow apprentices, including some extremely outstanding ones. Logically speaking, junior sister Qingqing's husband should be a heaven's chosen, a dragon among men. However, for such an important event like the pill concoction banquet, he still hasn't appeared. What's going on? Could it be that junior sister Qingqing lied to everyone? Master regards you so highly, no wonder you would have such thoughts. However, right now, many of our fellow apprentices are chatting outside. Why don't you all go out for a walk? That female disciple smiled. Mo Qingqing contemplated for a moment before nodding her head lightly. Sure. Junior sister Yuro, I heard that your family members have arrived as well. There's an immortal king expert among them, and your fiancé is also an extraordinary character. Why don't you guys gather together? Are you worried that someone might snatch your fiancé away? Chiao Mo glanced at Yi Ro as he spoke. Yi Ro smiled with some embarrassment. He merely stepped into the gate of the immortal king realm. How can he be considered an extraordinary character? As for junior sister Qingqing, she has rejected countless suitors, saying that she already has a family. She must be an extremely outstanding character. Chapter 1372. The two of them quietly enjoyed this rare moment of peace. After a long time, Qin Wendian spoke. Qingqing, when I came here, I heard many people talking about the pill concoction banquet. What's going on? It's a grand gathering of our unaging immortal mountains that happens once every 10 years. The disciples of the various peaks would gather together and compete in pill concoction, testing their abilities. It's an extremely grand occasion. I was already there during the previous pill concoction banquet, but because I was weaker, I couldn't participate. This time around, I will be participating as well. Mo Qingqing spoke in a light voice. No wonder so many people came to the unaging immortal mountains. Qin Wendian nodded lightly. In that case, I will accompany you to the end of the pill concoction banquet before I leave. Mo Qingqing gently smiled. In her heart, she also hoped that Qin Wendian would accompany her to the pill concoction banquet. This wasn't because of vanity, she simply hoped that she would be able to spend a few more days with Qin Wendian. In addition, she could also tell the people of the unaging immortal mountains that she already had someone she loved. In that case, those people wouldn't bother her anymore. I have a friend who came as well. Since there are so many people here to participate in the pill concoction banquet, the unaging immortal mountains should have a place to entertain them, right? Qin Wendian smiled. There is. Mo Qingqing nodded. In that case, let us go and make arrangements for your friend first. The two of them walked to the courtyard. Qiyu quietly sat there, guarding for Qin Wendian. He knew that Qin Wendian came to see his wife and naturally wouldn't disturb them. At this moment, Qiyu turned and glanced at Qin Wendian and Mo Qingqing. He felt that the two of them were extremely compatible. Qiyu, this is my wife, Mo Qingqing. Qin Wendian introduced. Qiyu nodded to Mo Qingqing. I pay my respects to madam. Mo Qingqing saw how polite Qiyu was to her and knew that the relationship between the two of them wasn't just that of friends. However, she didn't probe any further and merely smiled. Let us go to the place where the unaging immortal mountains receive guests first. Just do as you say, madam. Qiyu nodded. Cultivators did not care about such things. Mo Qingqing and the two of them continued on their way out. The ancient peak was extremely vast, and there was an area specially designated for receiving guests. The scenery was extremely beautiful, and on their way there, several people had strange expressions on their faces when they saw Qin Wenyan beside Mo Qingqing. This young man was walking together with Mo Qingqing, and it seemed as though the two of them were extremely close. When Qin Wenyan saw that many people were looking at him, he laughed in a low voice. My Qingqing is always the center of attention wherever she goes. Mo Qingqing's lips twitched as she held onto Qin Wenyan's hand. Feeling the warmth of Mo Qingqing's palms, Qin Wenyan also held onto her hand tightly, as though he was declaring his sovereignty. A young man, Wu Xiu, had an extremely unsightly expression on his face when he saw this scene. He was also one of the people who admired Mo Qingqing, yet Mo Qingqing had always been cold to him. She couldn't even be bothered to say a single sentence to him and was incomparably arrogant. Now that he saw her holding the hands of another man, he naturally felt jealousy in his heart. And here I thought she was so pure and holy. In the end, isn't she the plaything of others? This young man felt jealousy in his heart as he silently mused, feeling extremely unhappy. On their way here, Qin Wenyan was the center of attention and soon became the topic of discussion for everyone on this ancient peak. The movements of the two of them were also constantly being monitored. After they settled Qiyu down, Qin Wenyan and Mo Qingqing returned to Mo Qingqing's residence together, causing a huge commotion. This was especially so for the following period of time. Even if it was night time, Qin Wenyan and Mo Qingqing didn't come out at all. They even set up a barrier to prevent the immortal senses of others from spying on them, causing those who couldn't bear it to return empty-handed. As the #1 beauty of the unaging immortal mountains, Mo Qingqing's every action would stir the hearts of many. Right now, there was actually a man together with her. How could this not cause a commotion? Countless people started to discuss this. To think that junior sister Qingqing is such a person. She doesn't care about her reputation at all. Yeah, I thought she was so pure and innocent. Who would have thought that she's probably doing something improper at this moment? Someone mocked. How can you all speak like this? Junior sister Qingqing has long said that she has someone she loves and they are already married. This man should be her husband. What's so strange about her being together with her husband? There's no need to be so jealous of junior sister Qingqing. There were also some righteous senior sisters who couldn't bear to listen to these rumors and spoke out for Mo Qingqing. There were also people speculating about Qin Wenyan. A voice spoke. This young man doesn't seem any different from others. I wonder if he has any background. He's definitely far inferior when compared to senior brother Mo. If he really is Mo Qingqing's husband, her judgment is truly terrible. Why don't they break up? Such a beauty, even if they broke up, she would still be popular. Outside, all sorts of voices rang out, even drifting towards the other ancient peaks. After all, there were too many people paying attention to Mo Qingqing. However, Qin Wenyan and Mo Qingqing couldn't be bothered with these discussions. No matter where they went, they wouldn't be able to control the thoughts of others. Hence, there was no need to bother with them. The prerequisite was that they didn't antagonize him. The two of them lived in a world of their own. After being separated for so long, they naturally wanted to enjoy this rare moment, admiring the beautiful scenery of the mountain range. Time passed very quickly. The two of them didn't even take a step out of the mountain range. It was unknown how intense the commotion they caused outside was. The pill concoction banquet was finally about to commence. Today, the disciples of the ancient peaks all headed towards the pill concoction grounds. Mo Qingqing also stood up and headed there. Qin Wenyan didn't go with her. When the pill concoction banquet was about to commence, most of the family members were only here to spectate. Hence, they followed the crowd and arrived at the side of the pill concoction grounds. On the pill concoction grounds, Yi Ro saw that Mo Qingqing was glowing with health and vigor. She walked to her side and lightly laughed. Junior sister Qingqing, I heard that you have been living a happy life these few days. Mo Qingqing frowned, feeling more and more dislike for Yi Ro in her heart. It was only because they were fellow apprentice sisters that she maintained a respectful attitude towards Yi Ro. But now, Yi Ro's words were getting more and more frivolous. This has nothing to do with senior sister, right? Mo Qingqing unhappily spoke. I'm just asking, I didn't expect junior sister to have such a huge reaction. Yi Ro laughed. Don't you know that right now, everyone in the unaging immortal mountains is talking about you? Don't you want to know what your fellow apprentice sisters and brothers are saying about you? I don't want to know, and I'm not interested either. Mo Qingqing coldly replied. Yi Ro laughed. Your husband came here alone. Is there no one else in your clan? Senior sister, does this have anything to do with you? Mo Qingqing's frown deepened. Naturally, it has nothing to do with me. Yi Ro smiled but didn't say anything. Her expression was extremely unsightly to behold. She promised someone on the main peak that she would help him pursue Mo Qingqing and was promised many benefits. But now, there was no hope for her. At this moment, a few figures walked over from the front of the pill concoction grounds. The person in the lead was a middle-aged beauty that exuded an extraordinary aura. Qin Wenin could tell with a single glance that her cultivation base was very high and should be at the peak stage of the immortal king realm. This woman should be the pill lord of this mountain, the master of Mo Qingqing. The pill concoction banquet that happens once every 10 years has always been a major event of our unaging immortal mountains. The 9 pill lords will lead the disciples to participate in this banquet, and even the immortal emperor himself personally concocted a supreme pill as a reward. You all better perform well. That woman directly spoke. The disciples all bowed, wanting to fight for glory. Everyone came from afar. This time around, you all can participate in the pill concoction banquet together and witness the glory of our unaging immortal mountains. The beautiful woman glanced at the crowd. Everyone smiled and nodded. Let's move out. With a flash of her silhouette, the beautiful woman soared into the air as the people beside her followed closely. After that, the disciples all soared into the air. Qin Wenin and the others also stepped out, flying towards the highest peak of the unaging immortal mountains. Over there was the main peak of the unaging immortal mountains, the unaging peak. The pill concoction grounds of the unaging peak were extremely spacious, able to accommodate over 10,000 people concocting pills. In the surroundings of the pill concoction grounds, there were tables and chairs, allowing one to view the scene in the pill concoction field while enjoying the immortal banquet at the same time. Friends have come from afar. If the unaging immortal mountains' hospitality isn't satisfactory, I hope you won't take offense. On the main platform, a white-bearded old man smiled. Many people clasped their hands to express their politeness. The unaging immortal mountains' hospitality is truly boundless. At this moment, a group of people walked towards the main platform. The people from the 9 peaks arrived one after another, including the experts from the main peak. Other than the elders of the main peak, there was also a group of experts with extraordinary auras. They were all from the Taihua immortal dynasty. Qin Wenin and Qi Yu casually found a seat and sat down. He saw Mo Qingqing, who had already walked to the edge of the pill concoction field, turned her head back to look for him as she smiled at him. Qin Wenin raised his fist, smiling encouragingly at Mo Qingqing. For him, Qingqing had sacrificed so much. He also hoped that Qingqing would be able to find her own path of cultivation, regaining her talent and fulfilling her pride. At the location where the disciples of the main peak were, Qiuemo and the others noticed Mo Qingqing. Qiuemo's expression turned cold and the person beside him spoke in a low voice. I thought it was the Holy Maiden. Who would have thought? It's rumored that she stays in her room with someone else, not taking a single step out. I wonder what she is doing. It's that young man over there. He looks so ordinary. How can he be mentioned in the same breath as senior brother Qiuemo? Someone stared at Qin Wenin. Right now, Qin Wenin was extraordinarily handsome and had an outstanding demeanor. This person naturally wanted to belittle him. Qiuemo didn't say anything. His gaze was filled with unfriendliness as he stared at Qin Wenin. Qin Wenin could already sense many gazes on him, but he was still as calm as ever. Those people are from a transcendent power in the Taihua immortal dynasty. It's rumored that the clan leader of that clan has an extremely high status in the Taihua immortal dynasty. Someone glanced at those people sitting together with the main peak's pill lord. I've heard of it too. One of their disciples is a disciple of the main peak's pill lord and has extremely outstanding talent. Someone spoke. Are these people from Senior Brother Shue's clan? Senior Brother Shue is a dragon among humans. His talent is extraordinary and his clan is actually so powerful. I heard that they are all experts from the Taihua immortal dynasty. The disciples of the unaging immortal mountains also discussed. Not only are they from Senior Brother Shue's clan, there's one among them who is an elder of Senior Brother Chiuemo and is extremely powerful. He is also sitting beside the main peak's pill lord and has an extraordinary status. Yi Rou spoke in a light voice. Many disciples of the unaging immortal mountains had extraordinary backgrounds and some of them were extremely dazzling. However, this doesn't count for much. Junior sister Qingqing doesn't even have Senior Brother Chiuemo in her eyes. I wonder where Junior sister Qingqing's husband is from? Yi Rou smiled at Mo Qingqing who was beside her. Chapter 1373. The pill concoction has begun. This time around, this crazy lass would definitely be able to display her brilliance. Someone on the viewing platform laughed. The disciples respectively took out their pill furnaces and prepared themselves. The pill lord then spoke, "Let's begin." Mo Qingqing frowned when she heard Yi Rou's question. This Yi Rou was getting more and more overbearing. She clearly knew that she didn't want to bother with her, yet she still continued to pester her. Someone wanted to inquire about Qin Wendian, causing several people to turn their gazes over. Qin Wendian furrowed his brows. These people were truly shameless enough. A cold intent radiated from him, but he didn't say anything. Momentarily, the people in the surroundings froze before they all laughed coldly. "Brother, you are truly blessed." Some people laughed. "Such a supreme beauty, so pleasing to the eyes. I wonder which clan brother is from?" Staring at Mo Qingqing who was currently concocting pills, his heart felt exceptionally warm. Qin Wendian didn't know alchemy but he knew how to admire. When he saw Mo Qingqing's actions, he only felt that it was pleasing to the eyes. A gentle smile appeared on his face. Even without him, Mo Qingqing would still be an extremely perfect woman. During these years, although he was the one who helped Mo Qingqing to raise her strength, Mo Qingqing had never truly enjoyed herself. Her heart was always tied to him, and she had always been working hard to improve herself. "Little Mo, this time around, everyone in our clan is here to support you. Let's see your performance." Many people had looks of anticipation in their eyes as they stared at their juniors. This time around, they came from afar and hoped that there would be a pleasant surprise. If their clan could produce a powerful alchemist, it would definitely be a matter of great benefit to their clan. "Qingqing, focus on concocting pills, don't mind their words. Master has placed great hopes on you, you have to fight for the sake of our faction." That female spoke to Mo Qingqing. She was the leader of this faction and was an immortal king expert. Her status was transcendent and she usually treated Mo Qingqing quite well. As time flowed by, the fragrance of immortal pills permeated the air. Sounds rang out unceasingly from the pill furnaces. There were people who successfully concocted pills. Their efficiency was extremely high. But at the same time, there were also people who failed. After all, the success rate of pill concoction was extremely low. "I've wronged you." Qin Wendian silently mused in his heart. This time around, he came here only because he wanted to see Qingqing. Qing'er had GD and Changqing the Great by her side. No one would dare to bully her. Other than Xiangxi, there was no need for him to worry about her safety. Qingqing was different. In the immortal realms, he was her only kin. Only she could protect this woman he loved. In Qin Wentian's eyes, there was only Mo Qingqing. Behind her, a silhouette of a celestial maiden appeared. She sat cross-legged, resembling a mystical maiden from the 9 heavens. She held a 9-colored flame in her hands, each of them different from the other. Her beautiful eyes were closed as she calmly sensed the flames. When the temperature was high enough, She tossed the medicinal ingredients into the cauldron as her slender hands started to form pill concoction seals. That's right, junior sister Qingqing. This time around, many disciples of the unaging immortal mountains have sent people over. Senior sister Yi Ro's clan has sent people over as well. Her fiancé, who is just a step away from the immortal king realm, has also personally come. Junior sister Qingqing is so outstanding, your fiancé must surely be a dragon or phoenix among men. I wonder what his cultivation base is and which major power or clan he comes from. Hence, Qingqing's matters could only be handled by herself. Qin Wenyan felt that he had wronged the woman he loved. After the first round ended, 100 Immortal Foundation participants would be selected while only 30 Immortal Kings would be selected. Some were happy while others were disappointed. The people from the unaging Immortal Mountains were still waiting, giving everyone a chance to concoct pills even if they were eliminated. Qingqing said that as long as I can get into the top 10, there would be a reward. I believe there won't be any problems for her. Qin Wenyan mused. Although he didn't really care about the reward, if Qingqing could obtain it based on her own talent and hard work, the meaning behind it would be extraordinary. Qin Wenyan's attention had always been on Qingqing and he naturally heard the gossip. He sighed in his heart as expected. No matter where he went, there would always be trouble. This was especially so when his Qingqing was so outstanding. Qin Wenyan was confident that no matter which power Qingqing went to, there would definitely be many suitors chasing after her. Your performance isn't bad. Seems like there shouldn't be a problem for you to get into the top 10. Qin Wenyan transmitted his voice to Mo Qingqing. You will definitely be able to do it. The main reason you are at a disadvantage is because of your cultivation base. If your cultivation base reached the peak of Immortal Foundation, my Qingqing would definitely be the most outstanding one. Qin Wenyan encouraged. Mo Qingqing smiled sweetly, feeling warmth in her heart. She was filled with even more anticipation for the next round of pill concoction. She would definitely work hard, all for the sake of her lover who was watching her concoct pills. In an instant, all sorts of astral souls and flames appeared. Those who concocted pills had to cultivate fire attribute energy. In addition, there were different types of flames. Some came from demonic beasts, some came from treasures, and there were even some that came from mysterious places, heavenly flames. The elders of the unaging immortal mountains distributed the pill concoction materials. At the same time, the peak lord of the unaging immortal mountains announced the number of pills that needed to be concocted. For the first round, for the sake of fairness, everyone's conditions were the same. Mo Qingqing turned her head and glanced in the direction of Qin Wenyan only to see Qin Wenyan extending his fist towards her as a smile of encouragement appeared on his face. Mo Qingqing also smiled sweetly and walked towards the pill concoction field. This smile caused many to be in a daze. Their gazes all turned to Qin Wenyan. For some of the younger geniuses, when they saw how young Qin Wenyan was, they couldn't help but feel jealous of his good luck. To think that he actually had such a beauty as his companion. The fourth person. Qin Wenyan didn't pay attention to the immortal kings. He only paid attention to Mo Qingqing. At the Immortal Foundation level, Mo Qingqing was the fourth person to succeed. After she finished concocting her pill, she turned back and smiled at Qin Wenyan. It was like all her hard work and glory was all for him. For the first round, 100 Immortal Foundation cultivators and 30 Immortal King cultivators will be chosen. We will determine the pill concoction efficiency, and the pill concoction speed will be the fastest to advance to the next round. The Peak Lord continued. The disciples of the unaging immortal mountains all had heavy expressions on their faces. The pill concoction powers were different from the other powers. If they could be nurtured and nurtured, there would be even more benefits. Good pill concoction materials, more powerful pill concoction techniques, and even immortal flame pill formulas would all be given to them. Chiao Mo isn't bad as well. Someone from the Chiao clan smiled. Chiao Mo was the third immortal king to succeed. Qingyang is the disciple with the best talent I've ever seen. As expected, she didn't disappoint me and was the first to succeed. The Peak Lord laughed, not holding back his praise for Xue Qingyang. Xue Qingyang's speed in concocting 7th-ranked pills surpassed all the others who concocted 6th-ranked and 7th-ranked pills. He was also very clear that although Qingqing's talent couldn't be compared to the most outstanding geniuses of the younger generations, she was still extremely outstanding in the unaging immortal mountains. Some of the maidens who were usually jealous of Mo Qingqing spoke out. Mo Qingqing had the title of the #1 beauty of the unaging immortal mountains the moment she arrived, and in addition to her outstanding talent, she was highly regarded by her master, completely suppressing the other maidens. Qingyang's performance isn't bad. A middle-aged man sitting beside the Pill Lord of the main peak laughed. However, the situation in the eastern regions was extremely chaotic now. The immortal Qianbian Gate and Dongshangshan Gate were about to clash. He had to be extremely careful when he went out. He came to the unaging immortal mountains only because he wanted to keep a low profile and take a look at Qingqing. He didn't plan to reveal his identity in case the Dongshangshan Gate acted against Qingqing in the future. Although the Dongshangshan Gate might not be so despicable, the encounter between Qin Yao and Luo Huan in the past was still fresh in his mind. Yen seems to be very confident in her pill concoction this time around. I wonder if she will give us a pleasant surprise. Next, we will have to compare the quality of the pills we concoct. Similarly, 6th-ranked immortal pills can also be split into 3 grades. The unaging immortal mountains are filled with crouching tigers and hidden dragons. I can only try my best. Mo Qingqing transmitted her voice back. Qingqing will definitely do her best. Thank you, senior sister. Mo Qingqing smiled and nodded. Brother, is that maiden earlier your companion? Someone at the side came over and asked. Everyone was filled with anticipation. Disciples, go to the pill concoction field and occupy a seat each. The Pill Lord of the main peak waved his hands, exuding a carefree aura. Numerous figures stood up. The disciples of the unaging immortal mountains all stood up and walked towards the pill concoction field. What a dogshit lucky fellow. Such a beauty isn't someone he can match up to. Someone mused in his heart, but he didn't say it out loud. That's good then. The maiden nodded. She's my wife. Qin Wenyin calmly spoke. Today is the pill concoction banquet. The most important thing is pill concoction. What's the point of so many things? It's not like we are competing based on background. If this is the case, what's the point of coming to the unaging immortal mountains? An older senior sister berated. After that, the mouths of everyone twitched as they glanced at Mo Qingqing. Hence, the disciples of the unaging immortal mountains all placed a lot of importance on this pill concoction banquet. This time around, all 9 peaks would gather, and not only would they be competing against their own faction, they would also be competing against the other peaks. If one's performance was outstanding, it would definitely be immensely beneficial to their future cultivation. Junior sister Qingqing even looks down on senior brother Qiu. Her husband is naturally even more outstanding. It's just that the elders of the unaging immortal mountains don't know his true identity. If not, they would have long since invited him to sit at the main seat. All the experts raised their cups and drank. After that, the banquet began. The unaging immortal mountains were proficient in pill concoction. The banquet was filled with good wine and dishes, as well as extremely nourishing immortal treasures. Upon entering his mouth, Qin Wenyin felt a sense of comfort in his body. Even his immortal energy flowed more smoothly, and he silently mused that the unaging immortal mountains was truly extraordinary. As expected of an emperor-ranked power, more and more experts gathered here. Finally, when everyone from the 9 peaks gathered, the pill lords of the 9 peaks sat at the main seats. The main peak lord smiled and raised his cup. Today is the once-a-decade pill concoction banquet of my unaging immortal mountains. I welcome everyone here to witness this grand event of pill concoction. I also hope that the disciples of my unaging immortal mountains would all perform well. Let me toast to all of you. The pill concoction banquet this time around is the same as usual. For Immortal Foundation experts, they need to concoct 6th-ranked medicinal pills to be considered qualified. For Immortal Kings, they need to concoct 7th-ranked medicinal pills. For the first round, all disciples who have been in the sect for more than 10 years must participate. If their concoction fails, they would have to work harder. If their concoction fails for 3 consecutive rounds, they can leave the mountain. The main peak lord spoke. Chapter 1374. After the first round ended, the vast majority of participants were eliminated. They all returned to their seats, feeling somewhat disappointed. The remaining 100 Immortal Foundation experts and 30 Immortal Kings were still there. There were Immortal Foundation experts of all levels, but the weakest among them was at least at the 3rd level. As for Immortal Kings, they were all initial stage Immortal Kings. After all, if one broke through to the mid-stage, they would already be qualified to become an elder of their respective peaks. The Pill Lords of the 9 peaks were all peak-stage Immortal Kings. As for the unaging Immortal Emperor, he was an initial stage Immortal Emperor. Next, you all can do whatever you want. The only thing is, you all only have 3 chances. If you fail 3 times, you will be eliminated. As for what ingredients you use and what pill you concoct, it all depends on your alchemy abilities. Ultimately, the quality of the pill will determine your ranking. Regardless of Immortal Foundation or Immortal King, the top 10 will all be rewarded. If you can get into the top 3, you will be rewarded by the Ancestor. The Pill Lord of the main peak smiled. Their faction was undoubtedly the most outstanding. Most probably, the ultimate winner would be his main peak. The expressions of the various experts turned heavy. Next would be the main show. Those who were ranked at the top, leaving aside the fact that their future would be bright, just the rewards for each pill banquet would be extremely ordinary. Let's begin. The Pill Lord of the main peak announced. The experts from the various major powers also stared at the participants. If there were outstanding characters, even if they weren't from their major powers, they could still form a good relationship with them for their juniors. In the future, when these people become the upper echelons of the unaging Immortal Mountains, they would be able to cooperate with them in concocting medicinal pills. Who wouldn't want to be friends with powers that were proficient in pill concoction? This time around, everyone's preparations were even more ample. There were even more ingredients for pill concoction, and many of them were rare and precious herbs that non-alchemists wouldn't be able to recognize. This was especially true for those Immortal Kings who were preparing to concoct 7th-tier pills. That's the Dragon Tendon Beard. An expert stared at Xue Qingyang as his eyes gleamed with sharpness. Using such precious ingredients to concoct pills was truly extravagant. The concoction of high-grade pills was truly an extravagant matter. If the concoction failed, everything would be for naught. Some of the ingredients are probably prepared for them by their clans. For those with no background, they can only obtain the ingredients themselves. At such a time, the power of their clans would be displayed. Some people thought to themselves. Although it seemed fair, it couldn't be absolutely fair. Everyone present naturally understood this principle. Everyone was even more cautious than the previous round. This time, it was not a competition of alchemy efficiency, nor was there a specific elixir. What they needed to do was to fully display their alchemy ability and concoct the best finished elixir to obtain a good ranking. The temperature in the air rose. Fortunately, this place was very vast, and everyone was very far away from each other. But even so, the flames of the alchemical pills concocted by the disciples of the Celestial Kings were still oppressing some of the weaker cultivators to the point that they had to use their celestial energy to resist. Waves of pill fragrance wafted into his nostrils. Although the pill had yet to be formed, the fragrance was already assaulting his nose. Flames of different colors dazzled the eyes of everyone. All sorts of precious cauldrons emitted strange sounds, and in fact, there were even currents of energy flowing into the cauldrons. This was especially so for those Immortal King disciples who were concocting pills. The energy of law energy frenziedly flowed into the cauldrons, causing some of the cauldrons to emit sounds akin to the roars of mountains and tsunamis. I didn't expect pill concoction to be so fascinating. Someone sighed in a low voice. This is truly an eye-opener. The pills concocted this time around would surely be extremely valuable. In the outside world, their value would surely be extremely high. Other than feeling some shock, Qin Wenyan didn't think too much about it. His gaze was focused on Qingqing from the start to the end. Beads of perspiration gradually appeared on her forehead, even her hair was slightly damp, sticking to her forehead. Her face was completely red, and it was unknown how many gazes landed on her, admiring her beauty. A holy light enveloped her as the shadow of a celestial maiden appeared behind her, dragging a 9-colored flame behind her. She was like a goddess from the 9 heavens. Qin Wenyan quietly admired and waited. Immortals were all very patient, let alone the immortal banquet prepared by the unaging immortal mountain. Everyone was enjoying themselves and were patiently admiring this pill concoction banquet. Boom! A thunderous explosion rang out. The gazes of everyone turned over only to see black smoke rising from one of the pill furnaces. A moment later, looks of disappointment appeared on the faces of some. The young man who was concocting the pill opened his eyes. Disappointment could be seen in his eyes as well. Although the success rate of concocting high-quality immortal pills was very low, everyone still hoped that they could succeed in a single try. The unaging immortal mountain was a powerful alchemy power and had many pill concoction techniques. Some of them had secret arts that could increase the success rate of concocting pills. The more they were valued, the higher the chances of concocting pills they would be able to obtain in the future. Next, rumbling sounds rang out one after another. All of them were actually failures. This was truly surprising, but the elders of the unaging immortal mountain didn't find it strange at all. It was like this was an extremely ordinary matter. Time continued to flow. Finally, a beam of light shot up into the sky. Within one of the pill furnaces, a dazzling golden light shot up into the sky as a pill fragrance permeated the air. Just a single whiff of it would cause one to feel incomparably intoxicated. A crisp sound rang out, accompanied by a dazzling light. A resplendent golden immortal pill broke out of the furnace and floated in the air. Golden Pill of Laws. The elder of the unaging immortal mountain nodded. This golden pill of laws was a 6th-ranked immortal pill. The surroundings were filled with golden light as law energy converged. The Immortal Foundation expert heaved a sigh of relief as he turned his attention to the others. Next, there were still people who failed, but there were also people who succeeded. Scarlet Flame Immortal Pill. At this moment, a Scarlet Flame Immortal Pill radiated a terrifying fire attribute energy, causing the temperature in the surroundings to turn incomparably hot. If one consumed this pill, they would be able to convert all types of energy into fire attribute law energy for a short period of time, unleashing a supremely powerful fire attribute innate technique. Seems like the influence of astral souls on stellar martial cultivators is all-round. Even for pill concoction, it can't deviate from the law attributes. Qin Wenyan silently mused as he stared at the completed immortal pills. The strength of the law attributes were all determined by the astral souls of stellar martial cultivators. As for the law attributes, they would follow the stellar martial cultivator for the rest of his life. Even pill concoction was closely related to the law attributes one was proficient in. At this moment, a fearsome aura gushed forth. Qin Wenyan turned his gaze in a certain direction only to see that Xue Qingyang had finished concocting a pill. His immortal pill was golden in color and actually exuded a fearsome king intent. Faint dragon roars could be heard from it, tyrannical to the extreme. The law energy in the surroundings congregated together with the immortal pill, becoming even more violent and powerful. Dragon Emperor Pill, a peak-tier mid-grade 7th-ranked pill. Impressive. The pill lord of the main peak of the unaging immortal mountains sighed in admiration as he stared at Xue Qingyang. Although the people in the surroundings were all experts from the major powers and many of them were immortal kings, the number of major powers that were proficient in pill concoction in the immortal realms was on the low side. There were even fewer peak-tier pill concoction powers. Such a grand banquet, as expected of the unaging immortal mountains. This trip was truly worthwhile. Qin Wenyan's gaze was still on Mo Qingqing. As more and more people concocted their pills, Mo Qingqing seemed to be even more engrossed in it. The temperature of the flames was extremely high. The sweat that appeared was evaporated by the flames. This caused Qin Wenyan to feel some heartache, only to see that at this moment, Emo Qingqing's face turned red as though she was in extreme pain. This caused a nervous expression to appear on Qin Wentian's face. Emo Qingqing's master also stared at her as she asked in a low voice, "Qingqing, what is she trying to do?" "The ingredients she prepared earlier are for concocting soul pills. I thought it was you, senior sister, who wanted Qingqing to take the risk and concoct a rare medicinal pill. Could it be that this wasn't your intention?" A female at the side spoke. "No, I've never interfered with Qingqing's pill concoction. I only hoped that she would do her best." Emo Qingqing's master spoke. At this moment, a piercing sound rang out. Emo Qingqing actually coughed out a mouthful of fresh blood, which transformed into a stream of blood that flowed into the pill furnace. "Qingqing." Qin Wenyan clenched his fists. He saw that Emo Qingqing's countenance had turned pale, and she seemed to be extremely serious. This lass has gone crazy. She wants to concoct the blood refinement soul pill. Emo Qingqing's master instantly understood Emo Qingqing's intentions. What she wanted to concoct was an extremely rare medicinal pill, and it was one that had no benefits to one's cultivation. Before this, she didn't even think about it. Blood refinement, blood love. Senior sister, this lass? Emo Qingqing's martial aunt was also stunned. She glanced at Qin Wenyan. Was it because of him? Who was he? Why was Emo Qingqing willing to do such a thing? Pooh! Emo Qingqing coughed out another mouthful of fresh blood. Not only that, she did it 9 times in a row. Her hands formed strange ancient seals as she struck them into the pill furnace. Her aura grew increasingly sluggish as though she was extremely weak. Many people were stunned by Emo Qingqing's actions. Numerous gazes turned to her, especially for those from the unaging immortal mountains. When they knew what pill Emo Qingqing wanted to concoct, their eyes all gleamed with sharpness. This #1 beauty of the unaging immortal mountains actually had such deep feelings for someone. Finally, the 9-colored flames drilled into the pill furnace. A resplendent beam of 9-colored light flashed as an immortal pill emerged from the furnace, floating in the air. This pill was in the shape of a lotus, and there was a heart within the lotus. It was extremely beautiful. Emo Qingqing's steps were unsteady, and she was extremely weak. However, when she stared at the immortal pill, a satisfied smile appeared on her face. Luckily, she succeeded. At this moment, Qiu Emo had already completed his pill. When he saw the immortal foundation Emo Qingqing created, his heart trembled. He didn't expect this supreme beauty to have such deep feelings for someone. "Qingqing, can you bestow this pill to me? I'm willing to protect you for life." Qiu Emo spoke to Emo Qingqing, his words causing the hearts of everyone to tremble. The news of Emo Qingqing's husband coming to the unaging immortal mountains to visit her had already circulated. Many people knew about this, and everyone could guess at Emo Qingqing's intentions for concocting this pill. They didn't expect that at this moment, not only did Qiu Emo not give up, he even confessed to Emo Qingqing in front of everyone. Truly a good woman. If she can form a marriage alliance with Qiu Emo, my Qiu clan would definitely welcome her. At this moment, the elder Qiu Emo who was sitting beside the main peak's pill lord laughed, causing the expressions of everyone to turn even more fascinating. Being able to sit in that position, one could tell that his status was extremely high. His clan must be extraordinary, yet he was actually helping Qiu Emo as a matchmaker in front of everyone. "Qingqing, if you can fall in love with my main peak's Qiu Emo, it can be considered a beautiful story." The main peak's pill lord laughed. He didn't know about the matters between Emo Qingqing and Qin Wenyan. As a pill lord, he naturally didn't understand this matter. But since Qiu Emo was his beloved disciple, and there was also an elder of the Qiu clan who spoke, he was naturally more than happy to oblige. Chapter 1375. Emo Qingqing was initially feeling happy because the pill was completed. Her beautiful eyes were filled with a smile, but when she heard the voices of the crowd, Her smile instantly vanished as her pale countenance turned extremely unsightly to behold. Qin Wenyan also frowned. Although it was necessary for such an outstanding woman like Qingqing to have suitors, confessing in front of him in front of so many people and even wanting Qingqing to give him a pill? This was simply too arrogant and disrespectful to Qingqing. In addition, the elders of this person as well as the pill lords of the immortal mountains and ancient peaks also came to join in the fun. This made him very unhappy. This pill is only concocted for my husband. Mo Qingqing icily spoke. Upon hearing her voice and seeing the paleness of her beautiful countenance, Qiu Mo still couldn't let her go. Such Mo Qingqing would truly cause people's hearts to tremble. Junior sister Qingqing, why don't you give me a chance? I don't mind your past. In fact, I will definitely be more outstanding compared to your husband. Qiu Mo spoke. You are simply shameless. Mo Qingqing coldly spoke. She already made things so clear, yet this Qiu Mo still dared to say such overboard words in front of Qin Wenyan. No matter how good her temper was, she still couldn't help but to speak. Qiu, the elder of the Qiu clan, frowned as he lectured. You even want a married woman? Don't you find it dirty? Rumble. Qin Wenyan's body trembled as anger burned in his heart. He didn't expect that Qiu Mo's elder would actually say such humiliating words. He stood up and coldly stared at Qiu Mo. Apologize. Qiu Mo's elder turned his gaze to Qin Wenyan. Upon sensing the aura radiating from Qin Wenyan, he coldly laughed. An initial stage immortal king? Not bad, but who the hell do you think you are? You want me to apologize? He came from a great city governed by the Paragon Sword sect and was the king of a city. Even in the unaging immortal mountains, he would be treated as an esteemed guest. Why would he care about a mere initial stage immortal king who didn't even have a good seat? She is my wife. Qin Wenyan coldly spoke, declaring his dominance. So what? That expert mocked. Before this, when he saw how beautiful Mo Qingqing was, in addition to the fact that Qiu Mo had publicly confessed his love to Qiu Mo, he naturally wanted to help Qiu Mo. But who would have thought that Qiu Mo would be humiliated instead, scolded for being shameless? How could he not be enraged? Hence, he chose to mock Mo Qingqing. Brother Qiu, don't be impatient. The main peak's pill lord spoke. After that, he turned to Qin Wenyan. Sir, please take a seat. This place is the pill banquet of my unaging immortal mountains. Please abide by the rules. If there's anything, you guys can settle it after the banquet ends. Qin Wenyan came here in a low-profile manner. He didn't want to reveal his identity. But when he saw Mo Qingqing being humiliated, he couldn't help but stand out in anger. At this moment, his eyes gleamed with coldness as he stared at Qiu Mo's elder. His gaze was like he was looking at a dead man. All right. Qin Wenyan glanced at him coldly and sat down. Since this was the case, he would wait until the end of the elixir banquet before settling the score. Qingqing, I won't spare him. Qin Wenyan transmitted his voice to Mo Qingqing. Mo Qingqing turned her head and smiled sweetly at Qin Wenyan. As long as she saw Qin Wenyan, what did everything before count for? He was by her side. Not far away, a look of unhappiness flashed in Yi Ro's eyes. She didn't expect that Mo Qingqing's husband was actually an immortal king character. Even if he was an initial stage immortal king, he was still an immortal king expert and was much more powerful compared to her fiancé. When she thought of this, she couldn't help but feel even more jealous of Mo Qingqing. Someone like her senior brother Qiu Mo could disregard her past and publicly confess his love to her. Yet, she actually turned the tables and insulted him instead. She was simply shameless. If her senior brother Qiu Mo treated her like this, she could directly dump her fiancé. For those who haven't completed their concoction, continue concocting. Don't be distracted. The main peak's pill lord spoke, his tone cold. He felt that he had lost some face. He didn't know the situation, hence he spoke out to help his beloved disciple Qiu Mo. Who would have thought that Mo Qingqing would reject him so bluntly and even ignored his words, insulting his disciple for being shameless? Seems like his junior apprentice sister spoiled her too much and spoiled her too much. Qiu Mo stared in the direction of Qin Wenyan with a cold look in his eyes. Today, he had already lowered his face to woo Mo Qingqing. Because of her talent and beauty, he could even disregard her past. However, he was still smacked in the face in front of everyone. Everyone had their own thoughts. The pill banquet continued and the people from the major powers in the surroundings watched with interest. This Qiao Mo was an extremely talented genius, yet he was actually smitten by a woman. If one were to talk about fault, it was clearly Qiao Mo's rudeness first. That beautiful maiden already had a husband and her husband was also present at the banquet. She had already made things clear yet he still continued. This was akin to smacking Qin Wentian's face in public. It was extremely disrespectful. No wonder that beautiful maiden was angered. The disciples concocted their immortal pills one after another. Finally, out of the 130 participants, other than a few who failed 3 times, the majority of them managed to concoct their own immortal pills. However, the grade of the pills varied. The eyes of the main peak's pill lord flashed. He glanced at the pill lords of the other peaks and asked, "Let's decide on the 7th-ranked immortal pills concocted by the immortal kings first. What do you all think of the rankings?" Shui Qingyang's Dragon Emperor Immortal Pill is a mid-tier 7th-ranked pill. The quality is very high and after consuming it, one's combat prowess would increase, causing their immortal energy to become even more tyrannical. Within a short period of time, it can raise the strength of stellar martial cultivators by a certain amount. Someone spoke. The main peak's pill lord smiled and nodded. This was naturally what he was thinking as well. What about the others? What do you all think? The main peak's pill lord spoke. It seemed like the number 1 immortal king had already been decided. Fang Yan's Vajra pill should be ranked 2nd. This pill is extremely rare and after consuming it, it can allow an immortal king's physique to transform into an indestructible Vajra body for a short period of time. Another person expressed his opinion. The others didn't have any objections and all of them nodded. As the pill lords of the unaging immortal mountains, their judgment was naturally very good. Unless they encountered a pill that was extremely similar in quality, it would be very easy to tell which one was better. Qiao Mo's pill should be able to rank 3rd. That's right, Qiao Mo should be ranked 3rd. Only to see that at this moment, Qiao Mo didn't seem excited at all. His expression was extremely calm, as though he was still brooding over what happened earlier. Qiao Mo's elders all had smiles on their faces. As for the 3rd place, they would be able to obtain the rewards of the unaging immortal emperor. In addition, their status in the unaging immortal mountains would be even more stable. To their clan, this was undoubtedly a great help. Seems like they have to nurture Qiao Mo well and do their best to support him in pill concoction, satisfying all of his requests. Next, the top 10 were announced and the pills they concocted were also presented. This caused the hearts of the spectators to be filled with shock. To think that pills actually had such an effect. It was very rare for them to come into contact with powerful immortal pills. Today, their horizons were truly broadened. For the top 10, there were 3 from the main peak. Shui Qingyang and Qiao Mo were among the top 3. This made everyone sigh in admiration, as expected of the main peak of the 9 peaks. Next, it was time for the Immortal Foundation disciples to be evaluated. The main peak's pill lord fell silent. His eyes gleamed with a bright light as though he was contemplating something. After which, he spoke, "For Immortal Foundation level, I think the Calamity Poison pill Jing Xiu concocted should be ranked 1st. If Immortal Foundation experts were to consume this pill, only death would await them. For 6th-ranked pills, other than immortal pills, there were poison pills as well. Since this was a pill concoction power, they naturally wouldn't forbid the concoction of poison pills. Such pills could be used to catch opponents off guard during combat. Senior brother, why didn't you ask for everyone's opinion before making your decision?" Mo Qingqing's master furrowed her brows. Before this, when the main peak's pill lord was evaluating the immortal kings, he would ask for everyone's opinion because the rankings wouldn't exceed his expectations. But at this moment, he actually named the Immortal Foundation disciple as the top ranker instead of asking for everyone's opinion. This was extremely strange. But, "Junior sister, do you have any objections?" The main peak's pill lord asked. Naturally, I have objections. The pill my disciple Mo Qingqing concocted is the Blood Refinement Soul Pill, and it's one of the highest quality among 6th-ranked high-grade pills. Given her cultivation base, being able to concoct such a rare pill, she should definitely be ranked first. Although the calamity poison pill Jing Xiu concocted isn't bad, the difficulty of concocting it still can't be compared to the Blood Refinement Soul Pill. Mo Qingqing's master was somewhat unhappy. What happened earlier was Mo Qingqing's private matter and she didn't wish to interfere. But now, the ranking of the pill concoction banquet was an official matter. Although the Blood Refinement Soul Pill is rare, don't you know what use it has? It's completely useless to one's cultivation base. How can it be ranked first? I don't think it can even be ranked within the top 3. The Main Peaks Pill Lord continued, Junior sister, you can't protect Mo Qingqing just because she is your beloved disciple. Mo Qingqing's master's countenance was extremely unsightly to behold. She glanced at the other pill lords and asked, Everyone, what do you all think? Everyone smiled awkwardly. It seemed that it wasn't appropriate for them to say anything more. Purely based on alchemy, the difficulty of concocting the Blood Refinement Soul Pill was obviously the highest. In this aspect, Mo Qingqing should be ranked first. But since the Main Peaks Pill Lord was adamant, it wouldn't be good for them to interfere. Qin Wentian's countenance was extremely unsightly to behold. Qingqing had coughed out 9 mouthfuls of fresh blood to concoct this pill. But now, her achievements were actually being rejected by someone else? From the conversation between Mo Qingqing's master and the Main Peaks Pill Lord, Qin Wentian naturally understood that the Main Peaks Pill Lord was trying to shut the mouths of the others, making it hard for them to interfere. Which of the past pill concoction banquets didn't use one's alchemy ability to judge? If we are talking about effects, who can say for sure which pill is more effective? Is Xue Qingyang's Dragon Emperor Immortal Pill more effective or Fang Yan's Diamond Pill? Mo Qingqing's master argued. The disciples of our unaging immortal mountains don't care about practicality when concocting pills. What's the point? The Main Peaks Pill Lord spoke with an unquestionable tone. The number 1 in the Immortal Foundation realm naturally belongs to the Calamity Poison Pill. Mo Qingqing at most can only be ranked 4th. Master, I'm fine. Mo Qingqing's countenance was still pale as she smiled at her master. Upon seeing Mo Qingqing's appearance, her master felt extremely unbearable. How could she allow her disciple to suffer such grievances? Qin Wentian felt even more pain in his heart. Qingqing was working so hard in concocting pills, even the Main Peaks Pill Lord himself wouldn't dare to do so. If not, in terms of difficulty, Qingqing's Blood Refinement Soul Pill should be ranked first, yet he was ranked 4th. Qingqing could accept this, but he couldn't. Forget it. Qin Wentian sighed in his heart. He initially wanted to keep a low profile and not disturb Qingqing's cultivation. But sadly, this unaging immortal mountain wasn't a place for cultivation. Since I want to ascend to the peak of the immortal realms, why should I care about my wife's ability? So what if she doesn't have a cultivation base? If I let her suffer such grievances, what's the point of my cultivation? Qin Wentian silently mused as he stood up. Chapter 1376. As Qin Wentian thought of this, he stepped out and actually walked towards the pill concoction field. The gazes of everyone turned to Qin Wentian, only to see him walking to the side of Mo Qingqing. Mo Qingqing also stared at Qin Wentian as a sweet smile appeared on her face. No matter how wrong she felt, as long as Qin Wentian was by her side, it was already enough. Qingqing, since this pill was concocted for me, can I consume it now? Qin Wentian gently spoke. Mo Qingqing nodded. She took the pill and passed it to Qin Wentian. Qin Wentian received it and swallowed it. A wave of medicinal fragrance seeped into his body and very swiftly, Qin Wentian felt a strange feeling. In his soul, he could feel a sense of attachment, a strong sense of attachment. This was the feelings Qingqing had for him. Is this pill the love you have for me? Qin Wentian smiled as he asked. Mo Qingqing smiled radiantly. Not only so. At this moment, Mo Qingqing's master spoke. Qin Wenin glanced at her only to hear her slowly speaking, "Blood refinement, blood love. This pill has no effect on her at all. However, not only does this pill contain her longing for you, it also contains her comprehensions of everything. These comprehensions include cultivation, love. It's just that because your cultivation base is higher than Qingqing's, it might not be of much use to you. Because of its unique effects, this pill is extremely rare." Qin Wenin nodded his head lightly. In his soul, he could sense many things, including the deep feelings of Qingqing. Although the effect isn't obvious, the love she feels is enough to move one's heart. Also, in terms of concoction, this pill is definitely the most difficult to concoct. I still stand by my opinion, Qingqing should be the top ranker in this pill concoction banquet. Mo Qingqing's master resolutely spoke. This was her opinion and she wouldn't change it. Even if the pill lord of the main peak had already made the decision, she still had to protect her disciple. "Thank you." Qin Wenin stared at the middle-aged woman as he smiled. "Senior has taken care of Qingqing all these years. I have no way to repay you. I can only thank Senior for your kindness. Qingqing is my disciple, there's no need to care about favors." The other party shook his head. Mo Qingqing stared at her master and bowed slightly. She also knew that since Qin Wenin stood out, the fate between them as master and disciple would most probably come to an end here. Given Qin Wentian's temper, there was no way he would let this matter rest so easily. This meant that he would offend many people from the unaging immortal mountains, including the pill lord of the main peak. In that case, it would be impossible for her to continue cultivating in the unaging immortal mountains. In addition, she also learned of the current situation in the eastern regions from Qin Wenin. Now that Qin Wenin had come out, it was impossible to keep her here. In my heart, in the immortal foundation realm of this banquet, Qingqing, you are number one. Mo Qingqing's master smiled. Not far away from her, the pill lord of the main peak turned ashen. Was this smacking his face? Qin Wenin smiled at Mo Qingqing. "Since Senior feels that you are number one, and the pill you concoct is also the most difficult, Qingqing, you are the most outstanding." Mo Qingqing smiled sweetly. Her master and Qin Wentian's words of consolation caused her to feel even more gratified. She no longer cared about the opinions of others. As for the grievances she suffered, she no longer cared. "Have you guys had enough?" A cold voice rang out. Qiu Mo's expression was extremely unsightly to behold. He coldly stared at Qin Wenin. "This place is the unaging immortal mountains pill concoction banquet. What qualifications do you have to stand here and spout such nonsense? Why are you still not scramming? Junior sister Qingqing, pay attention to the situation here." Yi Rou also spoke in a strange tone, as though reminding Mo Qingqing. "Pill concoction banquet?" Qin Wenin stared at Qiu Mo as he coldly spoke. "So you still know that this is the pill concoction banquet? Since you know, what do the words you said to Qingqing earlier count for? Does this have something to do with the pill concoction banquet? This is the matter of the disciples of my unaging immortal mountains. During the pill concoction banquet, whatever I want to say or do, you have no qualifications to interfere." Qiu Mo was somewhat jealous of Qin Wenin. He had long been in love with Qin Wenin, yet Qingqing was so infatuated with this man. In addition, Qin Wenin was as young as him and had the same cultivation base as him. Hence, he was jealous. This place was the unaging immortal mountains, his home ground. Since when did Qin Wenin have the qualifications to speak so much here? "You said those words to my wife in front of me and I have no qualifications to interfere? In that case, the person sitting on the top should be your elder, right? Is he also someone from the unaging immortal mountains? Seems like you have spoken too much." Qin Wenin took a step forward. Although his voice was as calm as ever, his long robes fluttered even though there was no wind. For those who understood Qin Wenin, they all knew that he was already angered. "You want to compete with me?" The elder of the Qiu clan who was sitting on the top seat mockingly stared at Qin Wenin. Coldness flickered in his eyes as he spoke. "What qualifications do you have to compete with me? I naturally won't compete with you. You are such an uncultured old thing. Comparing myself to you is a humiliation to me. Qin Wentian mocked. After that, the eyes of Chiu Mo narrowed as a cold intent gushed forth from him. Master, this man insulted my elder and interrupted the concoction banquet. Master, please allow me to act. Chiu Mo clasped his hands to the main peak's pill lord. Sure. The main peak's pill lord nodded, only saying a single word. Clearly, he was standing on Chiu Mo's side. Chiu Mo coldly glanced at Qin Wenin. After that, he turned to Mo Qingqing and spoke. The words I said to you before are still valid. You can still consider it. Maybe I can spare him. Shameless to the extreme. Mo Qingqing coldly stared at Chiu Mo. It was very rare for her to hate someone so much. But Chiu Mo repeatedly said such words in front of Qin Wenin, causing her to loathe him to the extreme. Since you put it this way, I have nothing else to say. I can only use my actions to tell you that your judgment is truly very bad. Chiu Mo sighed to Mo Qingqing. Flames blazed around him, and in just an instant, an incomparably terrifying heat engulfed this entire space as the might of an immortal king gushed forth. Qingqing, step back first. Qin Wentian spoke gently to Mo Qingqing. Emichim, Mo Qingqing nodded. The other disciples of the unaging immortal mountains who participated in the pill concoction banquet all retreated. Very swiftly, only Qin Wenin and Chiu Mo remained on the vast concoction field. Although this battlefield was too small for immortal kings, they had a tacit understanding and didn't say anything. All of them felt that even if the battlefield was a little small, it would still be sufficient to end the battle. Rumble, rumble, rumble. Violent flames engulfed everything. In an instant, an incomparably violent fire law domain manifested. The flames of various colors revolved around the pill concoction field, enveloping Qin Wenin. At this instant, the handsome Chiu Mo transformed into a king of flames. He who was bathed in the terrifying flames was like a divinity, able to incinerate everything. Chiu Mo waved his hands as boundless law flames gushed towards Qin Wenin. However, at this moment, Qin Wenin was radiating law energy. The terrifying flames unceasingly gushed into his body, but they were all blocked by a formless barrier of light, unable to invade his body at all. However, at this moment, Chiu Mo moved. He took a step out, directly traversing through space. The concoction field was simply too small for immortal kings. The distance between the two of them only needed a single step. With a single step, Chiu Mo appeared right in front of Qin Wenin. A terrifying blazing palm imprint blasted out towards Qin Wenin. That blazing palm imprint contained a fearsome destructive might, causing sizzling sounds to echo in the air as all the moisture in the air was evaporated. Law energy circulated around Qin Wenin as a divine glow radiated from him. Is he courting death? He actually didn't dodge or retaliate. Everyone stared at Qin Wenin. In the time it takes for sparks to fly off a flint, Chiu Mo's palm imprint directly slammed into Qin Wentian's body. A thunderous boom rang out, but Qin Wentian wasn't directly incinerated like what everyone had imagined. He still quietly stood there, his body radiating a resplendent light as a fearsome law energy circulated within it. Not good. The elders of Chiu Mo and the main peak's pill lords silently mused. After that, they only saw Qin Wentian's palm already lifting up and slamming out with lightning speed, containing an incomparably terrifying suppression energy. Boom! A heavy sound rang out. This palm strike didn't contain any innate techniques and was infused with the purest form of energy. The palm strike slammed into Chiu Mo's face and slammed downwards. With a thud, Chiu Mo was slammed heavily onto the ground, causing the ground to tremble. From this, one could very well imagine how strong the force behind this palm strike was. The hearts of everyone were pounding. Chiu Mo was an immortal king expert. Ever since he started cultivating, he had never suffered such a humiliating defeat before. His attacks couldn't even move his opponent, and he was directly slammed onto the ground with a single slap. He coughed out blood as his head trembled and his teeth shattered. He only felt his mind buzzing as his vision turned blank. Boundless humiliation gushed forth. He even forgot to think. Get up. Qin Wentian's cold voice rang out. Chiao Mo crawled up. Bang! Qin Wenin ruthlessly slapped the other side of Chiao Mo's face. After that, a thunderous boom rang out as the ground trembled. Cracks appeared on the ground as both sides of Chiao Mo's face swelled up. These two slaps completely stunned him, causing the people in the surroundings to be stunned as well. Impudent! Chiao Mo's elder regained his senses. A cold intent gushed forth from him, but at this moment, he only saw Qin Wendian grabbing Chiao Mo's neck and lifting him up. A violent killing intent gushed forth, enveloping this entire space as everyone felt a bone-piercing coldness. How dare you say such words to my wife in front of me? In the future, you don't need to speak again. Qin Wendian coldly spoke. After that, his finger pierced towards Chiao Mo's mouth as a terrifying destructive sword chi gushed into it. Chiao Mo howled in pain, but his voice was extremely hoarse and ear-piercing. It was as though he wanted to speak but he couldn't. Everyone felt their hearts trembling as they felt a bone-piercing coldness in their bodies. In front of Qin Wenyin, Chiao Mo wanted to woo his wife, Mo Qingqing. He wanted Mo Qingqing to abandon Qin Wenyin and be with him. Chiao Mo told Mo Qingqing that he could disregard her past, and he even said that Mo Qingqing's judgment was truly too bad. Everyone almost believed Chiao Mo's words, feeling that Mo Qingqing's love for him wasn't worth it. However, they didn't expect the ending to be so dramatic. When the two of them fought, Chiao Mo was actually so weak, unable to withstand a single strike. From now on, his mouth could no longer speak. Chapter 1377. Numerous figures stood up. The elders of the Chiao clan all radiated killing intent. How dare you! Chiao Mo's master, the Pill Lord of the main peak, also didn't expect Qin Wenyin to be so audacious, acting so violently in front of him, causing Chiao Mo to never be able to speak again. Qin Wenyin, did he still have him in his eyes? Did he have the unaging immortal mountains in his eyes? Everyone was shocked by Qin Wenyin. Not only because of Qin Wentian's strength, but also because of the things he did. It was simply too crazy, simply audacious to the extreme. It's best that you don't move recklessly. Qin Wentian's hand was still gripping Chiao Mo's neck tightly. It was like as long as he willed it, he could take Chiao Mo's life at any moment. Chiao Mo's elder turned ashen as his killing intent surged to the extreme. Do you know what you have done? Chiao Mo's master had an unsightly expression on his face. He still sat there, but his countenance was ashen as he coldly spoke. My wife is also a disciple of the unaging immortal mountains. She was humiliated in front of everyone, and since the unaging immortal mountains chose to ignore it, I can only act myself. Qin Wendian calmly spoke. His tone was calm as though he had just done something extremely ordinary. How could he endure it when he saw Qingqing being humiliated like this? Since he didn't intend to endure it any longer, he would use the most direct method to make these people who humiliated Qingqing pay the price. Chiao Mo let out muffled sounds as fresh blood flowed unceasingly. His face was ashen, but he seemed to have forgotten the pain he was feeling. His eyes stared fixedly at Qin Wenyin, filled with boundless hatred. There's no need to look at me like this. Didn't you ask for this yourself? Qin Wendian glanced at Chiao Mo. The hearts of everyone trembled. Speaking of which, it was true that Chiao Mo was the one who asked for it. It was just that they thought that the one who would be unlucky would be Qin Wenyin. They didn't expect that it would be Chiao Mo. Yi Rose simply didn't dare to believe her eyes. Right now, she still hadn't recovered from the shock. Before this, she didn't have Qin Wendian in her eyes at all. For Qingqing, he actually dared to turn Chiao Mo into a mute? This was simply too crazy, simply toppling her imagination. How could he be so daring? This place was the unaging immortal mountains. It's just a battle of tongues. There's no need to be so vicious. Only to see Xue Qingyang turning his gaze onto Qin Wendian as he coldly spoke. He was the #1 genius of the main peak of the unaging immortal mountains and was respected by many. Chiao Mo was also very respectful to him, and their relationship wasn't bad. Seeing how impudent this man was, he naturally felt extremely unhappy. A battle of words? In front of your face, I told your wife that I want to dump you and follow me from now on. What do you think of this? Qin Wendian coldly stared at Xue Qingyang. Unrelated people, don't interfere in this matter. Xue Qingyang furrowed his brows. Although Qiu Mo had gone overboard, Qin Wendian actually dared to speak to him in such a manner. What if I want to interfere? Xue Qingyang raised his brows and said coldly. Qin Wendian turned his gaze and looked at Xue Qingyang with a cold smile. If you interfere, I will think that you have to bear the burden for him. In that case, I will bear it together. Xue Qingyang's expression turned sharp. He also had his own pride. Given how impudent Qin Wendian was, did he not know what sort of situation he was in now? I'm afraid you won't be able to bear it. Qin Wendian coldly spoke. Xue Qingyang stared at Qin Wendian before turning to Mo Qingqing. Since you want to say this, let me remind you. Mo Qingqing is also in the unaging immortal mountains. Do you think you will be able to leave the mountain alive just because you captured Qiu Mo? Qin Wendian grabbed Qin Wendian with his left hand and stepped out. Law energy gushed forth from him as the destructive aura from the Devil Islands gushed forth. With a single step, he traversed a great distance and directly appeared before Xue Qingyang. Xue Qingyang was also prepared. Flames gushed forth from him as his cultivation base at the initial stage of Immortal Foundation gushed forth without any concealment. Compared to Qiu Mo, his strength was simply too weak. His flames were much stronger as well. A cluster of nirvanic flames bloomed in the air. Xue Qingyang stretched out his palm as the terrifying flames blasted towards Qin Wendian's palm. Qin Wendian's palm shone with a dazzling light. The destructive god's hand contained supreme might. He didn't evade Xue Qingyang's flames and simply grabbed out. The terrifying flames directly pierced into his palm. The might of the nirvanic flames wanted to incinerate his palm, slowly seeping into it. Explode! Xue Qingyang coldly roared. Everyone in the surroundings retreated with great speed. Even the main peak's pill lord was alarmed. His silhouette flashed and directly appeared behind Xue Qingyang, releasing a powerful light screen to block the aftershock. At the point where the two of them collided, a wave of destructive flames erupted forth, shooting towards Qin Wendian. However, Qin Wendian's palm imprint abruptly expanded, transforming into a heaven-blotting divine hand, wanting to destroy everything. Bang! An intense sound of collision rang out. The flames were extinguished and forced back into Xue Qingyang's body. The destructive might ravaged his body as the palm imprint bore down on him. Xue Qingyang's countenance drastically changed as terror appeared on his face. At this moment, the main peak's pill lord behind him acted. Qin Wendian's attack didn't land. He brought Qiu Mo and directly retreated, returning to his original position. Xue Qingyang was so shocked that he broke out in cold sweat. The destructive might was still rampaging wildly in his body as his countenance turned as pale as paper. I initially thought that you would be able to handle it. In the end, you still have to rely on your master to act. In the future, it's best to think clearly before doing things. Don't think that you are very powerful and can bear the burden for others. You are not qualified. Qin Wendian mocked. The hearts of the disciples from the unaging immortal mountains pounded violently. How can this be possible? He was actually so powerful that even their senior brother Xue Qingyang couldn't even withstand a single strike? Their senior brother Xue Qingyang was the top ranker of this pill banquet. Also, his cultivation base was the highest and he was the strongest. But even he couldn't withstand a single strike. He actually needed the main peak's pill lord to act before he could survive. If not, that strike would have been sufficient to destroy him. Qingyang, are you all right? Xue Qingyang's elders also came to his side, all of them exuding cold auras. How dangerous! The pride of their clan was almost destroyed by a single strike. I'm fine. Xue Qingyang shook his head, but his heart had yet to calm down. That strike directly destroyed his pride. His glory of being the top ranker of the pill banquet was also shattered by that strike. Qiu Mo's elder walked towards Qin Wendian as a fearsome aura gushed forth. Release Qiu Mo, do you know what you are doing? The main peak's pill lord stared at Qin Wendian as killing intent flashed in his eyes. Just act directly. If he dares to touch Chiao Mo, we will deal with his wife as well. Shui Qingyang's elder calmly spoke. His Shui clan was a peak power in the Taihua Immortal Dynasty. However, in the unaging Immortal Mountains, there was actually someone who almost killed Shui Qingyang. This was unforgivable. Chiao Mo's elder waved his hand as numerous experts stepped out, moving towards Mo Qingqing, instantly surrounding her. The other disciples all retreated, not wanting to be implicated. Impudent. Mo Qingqing is a disciple of my unaging Immortal Mountains. What are you all doing? Mo Qingqing's master smashed the table in front of her and stood up. Junior sister, did you see clearly who is the one being impudent? He is using my disciple's life to threaten me, yet you still want to protect your disciple? The main Peak's Pill Lord's voice was extremely cold. His two most prided disciples, Shui Qingyang and Chiao Mo, were both humiliated and suppressed by Qin Wenyan. Today, it was impossible for Qin Wenyan to leave the unaging Immortal Mountains alive. What a peak lord of the unaging Immortal Mountains! Qin Wenyan laughed uproariously. Before this, Chiao Mo was disrespectful to my wife, and this old bastard even directly attacked her. At that time, no one stood out to speak for my wife. But now, all of you are stepping out to bully others? So what of it? Shui Qingyang's elder coldly spoke, his tone extremely arrogant. One couldn't help but say that as an expert from a peak power in his clan, his tone was truly arrogant. So what of it? Qin Wenyan stared at him and smiled. Shui Qingyang said that he wanted to bear the burden together with me. I don't really want his life, but since you said this, it means that you and Chiao Mo will have to bear the burden together. Also, the main Peak's Pill Lord of the unaging Immortal Mountains, right? Qin Wenyan laughed. He brought Chiao Mo back. At this moment, Mo Qingqing was surrounded and the other disciples of the unaging Immortal Mountains had already left. Only one person remained standing not far away from Mo Qingqing. This person was none other than Qi Yu from the Battle Saint tribe. Since you guys want to play, I want to see who is the one who can bully others today. Qin Wenyan roared in rage. He released Chiao Mo and blasted out a palm strike towards Chiao Mo. In an instant, boundless tyrannical destructive energy gushed into Chiao Mo's body, causing him to be flung through the air. His elder's silhouette flashed and caught hold of Chiao Mo's body. However, he discovered that Chiao Mo's meridians and bones were all destroyed, directly crippling him. Boom! A fearsome killing intent engulfed this entire space. However, Qin Wenyan calmly walked to the side of Mo Qingqing and spoke to Qi Yu, "Kill those who are surrounding her." Qi Yu nodded. In an instant, the heavens and earth trembled as a fearsome aura gushed forth. Qi Yu's body abruptly expanded in size, resembling a giant. A towering battle might radiated from him, unexcelled in the world, shining resplendently like a god of war. Boom! A terrifying law domain erupted forth, enveloping this entire space within. Those who wanted to kill Mo Qingqing were all enveloped by the strongest law domain at this moment. All of them had looks of terror on their faces. Qi Yu lifted his palm and pressed it downwards. In an instant his law domain erupted forth as countless battle palm imprints blasted towards this space. The supreme might of a battle saint could destroy everything. Those experts frantically fled. There were also some who wanted to unleash their strength to resist. However, when the destructive palm imprints slammed into them, screams of agony rang out unceasingly. In just an instant, this entire space was razed to flat ground. In fact, numerous palm imprints could be seen on the ancient mountain peak. In an instant, the entire mountain peak turned deathly silent. Chapter 1378. This man is so powerful. Only now did the people in the surroundings discover that the man standing not far away from Mo Qingqing was actually so terrifying. With a single strike, he annihilated all the experts who surrounded them. The main peak's Pill Lord was stunned. Chiao Mo's elders were stunned as well. Even the elders of Shui Qingyang's clan were stunned, as though they hadn't recovered from the shock yet. A peak stage immortal king. The expressions of everyone trembled. Even in this place, This man's cultivation base was still at the peak. Other than a handful of people who could contend against him, the others wouldn't even be able to withstand a single strike from him. However, why would such a powerful character silently stand behind Mo Qingqing? Who was he? The crowd stared at Qin Wenyin, who walked to the side of Mo Qingqing, as well as the experts from the Battle Saint tribe who stood before Qin Wenyin. When they thought back to the arrogant order Qin Wenyin gave earlier, everyone felt a chill in their hearts. This peak-stage immortal king actually listened to Qin Wenyan's orders. Earlier, it was Qin Wenyin who gave the order to kill. Hence, he acted, killing everyone around Mo Qingqing with a single strike. Only to see at this moment, Qin Wenyin held Mo Qingqing's hand as he surveyed the surroundings. Qingqing, those who humiliated you today have to pay a price. I initially wanted you to cultivate peacefully in the unaging immortal mountains, but since this place is no longer suitable for you, just follow me back. I'll listen to you. Mo Qingqing nodded lightly. When Qin Wenyin stood out, she already knew that there was no way she could remain in the unaging immortal mountains any longer. For you. At this moment, the main peak's Pill Lord also sensed that Qin Wenyin wasn't an ordinary character. It was one thing for him to have such powerful combat prowess, but with such a powerful character like Qiyu protecting him, what identity did he have? Qiyu's cultivation base was the same as him, a peak-stage immortal king. But his combat prowess was still unclear. After all, from that strike earlier, there was basically no way to tell how strong Qiyu was. You don't need to know who I am. Since all of you want to bear the burden for Qiu Mo, let's do it together. Right now, I want him to die. If anyone dares to obstruct me, feel free to give it a try. Qin Wenyan's cold eyes swept over the crowd. He pointed his finger at the elder of Qiu Mo's side, the person who insulted Mo Qingqing earlier. That elder said to Qiu Mo, "You even want a married man? Don't you find it dirty?" It was precisely this sentence that infuriated Qin Wenyin. Initially, Qin Wenyin planned to settle the debt with him after the banquet ended. However, Mo Qingqing was treated so unfairly during the concoction banquet. He couldn't bear it any longer and could only kill her. That immortal king turned ashen. His clan was the lord of one of the cities governed by the Supreme Sword School, and it was an extremely large city. His cultivation base was also very strong, at the peak stage of the Immortal King realm. Although he was only at the initial phase of the Immortal King realm, he could already be considered a character at the peak. In addition, there were people in his clan who were even more powerful than him. Qiyu, kill him. Qin Wenyan spoke. Qiyu was one of the strongest 3 out of the 36 mid-stage Immortal Kings of the Battle Saint tribe, in existence at the peak stage of the Immortal King realm. With regards to his strength, Qin Wenyan didn't doubt it at all. As long as the unaging Immortal Emperor didn't appear, no one here would be able to obstruct Qiyu. Yes. Qiyu's gigantic body took a step forward. Just a single step caused the entire mountain peak to tremble. That immortal king from the Qiu clan turned ashen as he stared at Qin Wenyin. Who are you exactly? Dead people don't need to know so much. Qin Wenyan's expression was incomparably calm. That immortal king from the Qiu clan had an ugly expression on his face as he similarly unleashed his aura. Bang! Qiyu stomped down, causing the mountain peak to crumble. The area where the Qiu clan's expert was at directly cracked apart as he was enveloped by his law domain. That immortal king from the Qiu clan unleashed his aura to the extreme as his body expanded, transforming into a giant, akin to a divinity. Immortal kings had bodies of laws. Their bodies were akin to kings, and they could directly transform into giants for combat, possessing boundless strength. Qiyu's expression was calm. Although both of them were peak-stage immortal kings, his opponent was merely at the initial phase. Although they were on the same level, the disparity between the early phase and late phase was extremely great. At the Immortal King realm, even the slightest disparity would be extremely great. Unless one had the strength to jump levels to fight, the slightest disparity would be enough to determine victory or defeat. Qiyu's entire body erupted with a supreme immortal light. His bones trembled as boundless battle saint might gushed forth, sweeping through everything. Palm imprints covered the sky as the roars of a divine ape shook the heavens, amplifying his combat prowess. At this instant, Qiyu transformed into an ancient battle god, his eyes filled with disdain. Boom! Boundless battle Saint Might fused into his law domain as a towering immortal cudgel appeared in the air. Qiyu stretched his hand out and grabbed it. The wind and clouds changed as the cosmos shuddered, causing the people in the space to be so frightened that they frantically retreated. After that, the crowd only saw Qiyu stomping on the ground again. The body of that expert from the Qiu clan directly flew up into the air along with the shattered mountain peak. After that, a cudgel smashed down, causing the entire space to be filled with cudgel shadows. Upon feeling that might, that expert from the Qiu clan turned pale. Such power caused him to feel a sense of despair. For immortal kings, it was very difficult to kill each other at the same level. However, his cultivation base wasn't just a little bit inferior to Qiyu's. Not only was there a difference in cultivation base, there was also the disparity in all other aspects. Even if they were at the same level, it was impossible for him to win. Xue Qingyang's elder and the Pill Lord of the main peak were all stifled. When they saw that cudgel descending from the sky, a roar of despair rang out. This roar originated from that expert from the Qiu clan. However, this roar wasn't able to change his fate. He didn't choose to fight but chose to flee instead. But could he escape? That cudgel engulfed the entire space. When that cudgel smashed down, the entire space trembled as the shattered mountain peak turned into dust. That elder from the Qiu clan died under that cudgel. A peak stage immortal king was finished off with a single cudgel strike. The raging wind howled unceasingly as the destructive might permeated the air. That shattered mountain peak vanished. With a single strike from a peak stage immortal king, let alone a mountain peak, even an entire mountain peak would be razed to the ground. If someone was bored and used their full strength to attack the ground, they would be able to destroy an entire mountain range. Dust flew up into the air. The crippled Qiu Emo struggled on the ground, trembling as he climbed up. When he saw the experts from the Qiu clan who surrounded Emo Qingqing had all disappeared, he saw his elder vanishing, and when he sensed that his cultivation base had been crippled, there was only boundless despair in his heart. He wanted to cry out, but he discovered that he couldn't make a sound. Qiu Emo was very proud. Very strong? He told Emo Qingqing to choose him in front of her husband, Qin Wenyan. He said that as long as Emo Qingqing chose him, he wouldn't mind her past. He would definitely be more outstanding compared to her husband. When he thought of this, he started to laugh. His laughter was filled with incomparable sorrow and despair. The sins he brought upon himself were the hardest to bear. At this moment, even if he wanted to ask who Qin Wenyan was exactly, he wouldn't be able to do so. He brought a calamity upon himself, bringing calamity upon his clan. He was a sinner, there was no longer anything left for him to live for. With difficulty he continued to walk forward, towards the shattered mountain peak. After that, Qiu Emo directly walked down, his body falling into the depths of the mountain peak. What was the point of living? This scene caused the hearts of everyone to tremble. It wasn't that they sympathized with Qiu Emo, but rather, they felt that everything had changed too quickly. Not long ago, at the pill concoction banquet, how glorious was Qiu Emo. How arrogant was he when he said such words to Emo Qingqing. His elder even said that Emo Qingqing was dirty in front of everyone. But so what of it? At that time, everyone felt that Emo Qingqing wouldn't be able to resist. Even if her husband was here, so what of it? Qiu Emo was strong, the Qiu clan was strong. The people from the unaging immortal mountains didn't say anything because they were strong. Everyone felt that it was only natural. Looking back at it now, the members of the Qiu clan were all dead. Qiu Emo committed suicide and the peak stage immortal king of the Qiu clan was killed with a single rod strike. Qin Wenyan once asked, "Was this bullying?" Someone replied, "Yes, so what of it?" Qin Wenyan said, "Since you guys want to play, let's see who can bully the weak today." Who could bully him? Qin Wenyan and his wife, Emo Qingqing. Yi Ro's emotions were the greatest. Her body was still trembling. Qiu Emo had died, he had nothing to live for and chose to commit suicide. Before this, she felt that Mo Qingqing had no judgment and was jealous of Mo Qingqing's talent and beauty. She felt that Mo Qingqing should have agreed to Chiumo's pursuit. Her husband came alone to the unaging immortal mountains to provide support. His strength was simply too weak, and when compared to the Chiu clan, they simply couldn't be mentioned in the same breath. However, now, she saw it clearly. Qin Wenyan only brought a single person with him. But that single person was able to sweep through everything, easily annihilating all the experts of the Chiu clan. Mo Qingqing had no judgment? For a beauty like Mo Qingqing, how could her husband be weak? Yi Ro knew how foolish her self-righteous thoughts were. The Pill Lord of the main peak was also extremely shocked. But at this moment, he actually didn't know what to say. He also didn't dare to say anything. He naturally could sense how strong Qiyu's attack was. But such an expert was killed just because of a single sentence from Qin Wenyan. In that case, which power did Qin Wenyan belong to? The answer seemed to be on the verge of being revealed. To be able to use a peak-stage immortal king as a bodyguard and order him to kill someone, what power did he belong to? Was there a need to think about it? Was he the same as his unaging immortal mountains, an emperor-ranked power? Since he thought of this, the people of the Shui clan naturally thought of this as well. Shui Qingyang's expression was extremely ugly. This matter originally had nothing to do with him, and it was Chiu Mo who was rude first. But Chiu Mo was his junior apprentice brother, hence, he stood out to say something. However, Qin Wenyan rebutted him. How could he tolerate Qin Wentian's rebuttal? Shui Qingyang's elder had an ugly expression on his face. Their Shui clan had people from the Taihua immortal dynasty, hence, they were arrogant and had no one in their eyes. How could they place a mere initial stage immortal king in their eyes? But now, who would still dare to say those words before? You want to die together with Chiu Mo? Qin Wenyan stared at Shui Qingyang. This sentence caused Shui Qingyang to be speechless. Did he still dare to say that he would die together with Chiu Mo? You want to kill my wife as well? Qin Wenyan glanced at Shui Qingyang's elder, the expert who sat beside the main peak's Pill Lord earlier. Qin Wenyan coldly spoke, Tell me, how are you all going to die? Chapter 1379. The eyes of that expert from the Shui clan flashed. Right now, he no longer had the arrogance he had earlier. After seeing how domineering Qin Wenyan was and personally witnessing Qiyu's combat prowess, he naturally knew that this young man before him had a very deep background and wasn't any weaker than his Shui clan. If this was the case, he naturally wouldn't get involved in this mess again. As for the words spoken earlier, he didn't expect that an initial stage immortal king would actually be so powerful. Also, the unaging immortal mountains was truly trash. Even with such a powerful background, they actually didn't know the identity of this young man? Upon thinking of this, he cursed silently in his heart. He stared at Qin Wenyan. Sir, there was a misunderstanding earlier. There's no misunderstanding. Qin Wenyan didn't even wait for the other party to finish speaking, directly interrupting him. What a joke. Since he wanted to take responsibility, using Mo Qingqing's life to threaten him? Now, everything was resolved just because of the word misunderstanding? If he didn't allow Qiyu to display his strength, would the attitude of the other party change? Would they spare him in Mo Qingqing? Now that they saw Qiyu's strength, it was simply ridiculous to say that it was a misunderstanding. Qin Wentian's cold voice caused the other party to frown. He continued, I'm from the Shui clan of the Taihua immortal dynasty. The clan leader of my Shui clan controls countless experts in the Taihua immortal dynasty. We were in the wrong earlier, we didn't know your identity or we wouldn't have interfered in this matter. Now that we know, we naturally won't interfere. I hope that you won't hold it against us. Wouldn't it be better for us to be friends? You truly overestimate yourself. Qin Wentian's expression was incomparably calm. He didn't expect that even now, the other party still had no intentions of apologizing. An expert from the Taihua immortal dynasty? Be friends? Back then, the Taihua immortal dynasty also participated in the adjudication battle, wanting Qing'er to marry off to the Tenlan Heaven Kingdom. Although they belonged to the major power behind them, they still contributed a lot. Be friends? Chiyu, kill him. Qin Wendian calmly stated. That indifferent tone of his caused people to feel a bone-piercing chill in their bones. Just when the peak stage immortal king of the Taihua immortal dynasty wanted to ease the tension between them, wanting to be friends, what he got in return was a cold voice. Kill him. What a calm voice. Such calmness was terrifying to the extreme. In his eyes, even the Taihua immortal dynasty, a peak power of the eastern regions, was nothing in his eyes? What kind of person was he? What was even more terrifying was Chiyu's reply. He was as calm as ever, with no hesitation at all. It was like as long as Qin Wendian gave the order, he would do it. Even if the person he killed was related to the Taihua immortal dynasty. From the calm conversation between the two of them, one could see the absolute control Qin Wendian had over this peak stage immortal king. The absolute obedience of a peak stage immortal king. It was highly possible that this wasn't simply because he came from an emperor-ranked power. Bang! At the instant Chiyu stepped out, the hearts of everyone trembled violently. Wasn't it enough to wipe out the Chiu family? Earlier, that expert from the Shui clan used Mo Qingqing's life to threaten Qin Wendian to release Chiu Mo. He said that if Qin Wendian didn't release Chiu Mo, he would kill Qin Wentian's wife as well. At that time, that expert from the Shui clan disregarded everything and was extremely confident in his own abilities. But now, the situation was completely different. Now, it was Qin Wentian's turn to be unexcelled in the world. Sir, why must you be so ruthless? The countenance of that expert from the Shui clan drastically changed. His cultivation base wasn't higher compared to Chiyomo's elder. Although he was a peak stage immortal king, he was only at the initial phase. Maybe his combat prowess might be stronger, but it was still impossible for him to stand against Chiyu. Chiyu's tyrannical attack earlier directly shocked everyone. This was why he lowered his stance and admitted defeat, wanting to be friends with Qin Wendian. But he didn't expect that Qin Wendian didn't want to be friends with him. Qin Wendian was giving him a chance to repent and apologize. However, he didn't do so. Since he didn't even have this bit of awareness and even revealed his identity as someone from the Taihua immortal dynasty, what else was there to say? When the terrifying pressure bore down, no one dared to block Chiyu, including the experts from the Shui clan and the Pill Lord of the main peak. Chiyu's aura was simply too terrifying. Even he didn't have the confidence to block it. The experts from the Shui clan all stepped aside. The countenance of that expert from the Shui clan turned incredibly unsightly. He then spoke, I apologize for the words I said earlier. I was in the wrong. I hope that Sir can retract your command. Still as arrogant as ever. Qin Wendian coldly laughed in his heart. Since he gave the command, how could he retract it? Chiyu's law domain enveloped the expert from the Shui clan. When the towering battle Saint Might bore down on him, that expert from the Shui clan finally began to tremble. Although he unleashed his tyrannical aura and domain, he discovered that his strength was completely suppressed under the might of the battle Saint Might. His strength couldn't even be compared to Chiyu. Shui Qingyang stared at this scene as his heart trembled. His countenance was as pale as paper. Initially, the Shui clan wouldn't oppose Qin Wendian. It was all because of him. He had interfered, wanting to stand up for Chiu Mo. He wanted to bear the consequences for Chiu Mo. If his actions caused a calamity to befall the Shui clan, what did he count for? It was still a gigantic immortal cudgel, exuding an unparalleled tyrannical might. The expert from the Shui clan was finally afraid. His body trembled as he shouted, Sir, please forgive me. I am willing to pay for my mistake. Boom. The immortal cudgel swept down. How could there be any room for retreat? That expert from the Shui clan roared as a fearsome might erupted forth from him. A gigantic immortal diagram manifested, coiling around the immortal cudgel. But at this moment, the immortal cudgel suddenly transformed into a myriad of mirages, blotting out the sun. Everything in this space was destroyed. Boom. Another heaven-shaking collision occurred. There were no flashy attacks, no complicated innate techniques. When the disparity in strength reached a certain level, when one strength could achieve absolute suppression, The most direct and violent attack would be the most effective attack. The mountain peak continued to shatter, emitting cracking sounds. The entire main peak was trembling as thunderous rumbling sounds rang out, ringing in the ears of the crowd. But at this moment, no one had the time to care about that. Their hearts were pounding as they stared at that expert from the Shui clan who had vanished. Another strike. It was still as tyrannical as before, showing no mercy at all. So what if he was from the Taihua immortal dynasty? He would be killed with a single cudgel strike. The experts from the Shui clan glanced at each other, incomparably terrified. Shui Qingyang's body trembled unceasingly. As an immortal king, he actually couldn't help but tremble. How are you going to endure? Qin Wendian stared at Shui Qingyang as he asked. Staring into Qin Wentian's eyes, Shui Qingyang only felt that all his confidence, all his pride, was completely destroyed in an instant. There was only a lowly thought in his mind, to continue living on. The him now didn't have any doubts that Qin Wendian wouldn't dare to kill him. That earlier scene happened right before his eyes, he couldn't forget it. How was he going to endure? Using his life to endure? He was unwilling. Shui Qingyang, was the #1 alchemist in the unaging immortal mountains. His talent was #1. Was he going to die just like that? The more unwilling he was, the more pain he felt. Finally, with a thud, he knelt before Qin Wendian. I apologize for the words I said earlier. Shui Qingyang lowered his head, his tone was stiff. This kneel indicated that his pride was shattered, completely destroyed. This kneel meant that he wouldn't die. A heaven chosen at the immortal king realm, the incomparably arrogant senior brother Shui Qingyang was now kneeling on the ground, begging for forgiveness. This scene caused a huge impact to the disciples of the unaging immortal mountains. Qin Wendian stared at Shui Qingyang. For an immortal king to kneel, it naturally required courage. Shui Qingyang's hatred for him must have reached the extreme. For the sake of survival, such a prideful person actually knelt on the ground, abandoning his pride. Actually, even if you didn't kneel, I wouldn't have killed you. Qin Wendian calmly spoke. Shui Qingyang's luck wasn't bad. He didn't say anything that caused Qin Wendian to feel killing intent. Hence, Qin Wendian had never thought of taking Shui Qingyang's life. Shui Qingyang's veins bulged as he clenched his fists. Qin Wendian calmly stared at him. There was no expression on his face. After that, he turned to the Pill Lord of the main peak. The Pill Lord's countenance alternated between shades of green and white. He stared at Qin Wendian and asked, "Who are you?" "You don't have the qualifications to know." Qin Wendian spoke. After that, he held Emo Qingqing's hand and walked towards the Pill Lord. Qiyu followed beside Qin Wendian, walking step by step towards the main peak's Pill Lord. The main peak's Pill Lord stood there, his expression kept changing. After that, he saw Qin Wendian lifting his hand. Qin Wentian's hand flung out, directly slapping the Pill Lord's face. As a peak stage immortal king, the main peak's Pill Lord actually didn't block it. He could totally block it, but when he saw how domineering Qin Wendian was, and how powerful Qiyu was, he actually didn't block it. He didn't know what the consequences would be if he blocked this slap. The unaging immortal emperor was in this mountain, causing such a huge commotion. Most probably, he already knew about it, but he didn't come out. The unaging immortal emperor didn't come out. What did this mean? Maybe, even immortal emperors wouldn't be able to come out. This slap is for the unfair treatment my wife suffered during the pill concoction banquet. You are not worthy to be the Pill Lord. Qin Wendian coldly spoke. After that, he brought Emo Qingqing and walked past the main peak's Pill Lord. Such dominance completely stunned everyone. Qin Wendian pulled Emo Qingqing along and slapped the main peak's Pill Lord in front of everyone, all because of the unfair treatment his wife suffered. Yi Rose stared at Emo Qingqing's back view. She discovered that her jealousy for Emo Qingqing didn't diminish at all. In fact, it grew even stronger. Why was her husband actually so tyrannical, so fearless, so unstoppable? Killing an immortal king from the Qiu clan, killing an immortal king from the Shui clan. Shui Qingyang knelt down and slapped the main peak's Pill Lord. All of this was because of a moment of anger. For Emo Qingqing, He swept through the entire unaging immortal mountains in a tyrannical manner. Senior, I once again thank Senior for taking care of my wife. Junior bids my farewell. Qin Wendian bowed to Mo Qingqing's master. Master, disciple will leave first. If there's a chance in the future, I will come and visit you again. Mo Qingqing's eyes were slightly red. Go on. Mo Qingqing's master smiled. When she saw how domineering Qin Wendian was, she felt happy for Mo Qingqing. She was also at ease about Mo Qingqing's future. The two of them bowed. After that, their silhouettes flashed as they soared up into the air. Qi Yu stepped out and followed behind them. The three of them soared up into the air together. Countless gazes stared at their departing silhouettes as waves of shock rose in their hearts. Chapter 1380. After the departure of Qin Wendian and the other two, the hearts of the spectators didn't calm down even after a long time. The pill banquet of the unaging immortal mountains was a grand event that occurred once every 10 years. But at this moment, the two most outstanding disciples of the main peak, Xue Qingyang, knelt down and begged for mercy while Qiu Mo died. The Xue clan's elders were all killed and the Qiu clan's members were all wiped out. The reason for all of this was because of Qiu Mo's disrespect towards Mo Qingqing. The elders of the Qiu clan humiliated Mo Qingqing. If they knew that Mo Qingqing's husband had such terrifying capabilities, Qiu Mo, Xue Qingyang and the others wouldn't have dared to antagonize Mo Qingqing. At this moment, Yi Rou's entire body was drenched in cold sweat. She felt her entire body was devoid of strength. Luckily, she was just a nameless nobody and Qin Wendian didn't place her in his eyes at all. Also, during the pill banquet, it wasn't her place to say anything. If she also humiliated Mo Qingqing, her ending would most probably be the same as Qiu Mo. She was the silent and cold number one beauty of the unaging immortal mountains. So it turned out that her husband was actually such a character. What was laughable and sad was that she would often encourage Mo Qingqing to accept Qiu Mo's pursuit. Now that she thought about it, how ridiculous was this? With such a husband, how could Mo Qingqing possibly fall for Qiu Mo? Yi Rou glanced at her fiancé again as she sighed in her heart. The disparity between her and Mo Qingqing in terms of companionship was the same as the disparity in terms of beauty. The difference was like the heavens and the earth, there was no way to make up for it. At this moment, the 9 pill lords felt even more complicated in their hearts. Only they knew that the unaging immortal emperor was cultivating in the immortal mountains. With such a huge commotion, he definitely knew about it, but he didn't come out. The reason behind this caused their hearts to tremble. Next, it was time to clean up the aftermath. But all of this had nothing to do with Qin Wendian. Since he chose to walk out, he could only bring Qingqing away with him. Even if she wasn't tempering herself in the outside world, he would think of ways to strengthen himself, to the point where he could help Mo Qingqing grow stronger bit by bit. Or, even if Mo Qingqing didn't grow stronger, he wanted to protect her forever. This was his responsibility. Qin Wendian and his companions stealthily returned to the Cloud Prefecture. Right now, the atmosphere of the 13 prefectures was extremely tense. The Cloud Prefecture was surrounded by a huge army, and the atmosphere was extremely tense. Even at the border of the Cloud Prefecture, one could feel the tension in the atmosphere. During these days, many of the stronger characters in the Cloud Prefecture left one after another. They had the ability to avoid the battlefield, but they naturally chose to do so in case they were implicated by the aftershocks of the battle. For a war of this level, there was a high possibility that a large-scale battle between immortal kings would erupt. It was still fine if both sides intentionally suppressed it. But in the midst of a chaotic war, how could they care so much? If they were the slightest bit careless, a calamitous outcome might occur. An entire city might be razed to the ground. For those who had the ability to leave, they naturally chose to leave. Right now, in the vast Cloud Prefecture, there were only those who left. Very few people came back to the Cloud Prefecture. Qin Wendian directly rushed to the immortal Qimbian Gate in the Cloud Prefecture. On the way back, Mo Qingqing also learned of the situation in the Cloud Prefecture. Qin Wenyan initially wanted to escort her back as well, but Emo Qingqing insisted and wanted to stay behind with him. Qin Wenyan didn't insist too much either. This war wouldn't end so badly that he couldn't even protect a single person. In the immortal Qianbian Gate, Qin Wenyan first sent Emo Qingqing back to her residence before telling Qiyu to return. As for himself, he headed to Bai Wuya's residence. Bai Wuya's residence was enveloped by a mysterious sense of will energy, blocking the immortal senses of others. If someone intruded, they would instantly know. This was a method that experts would use, and Qin Wenyan could easily achieve it now. After all, if one didn't block out immortal senses, it would be easy for others to pry into one's privacy. And as long as you used your will to envelop your residence, others would instantly know that you don't wish to be disturbed by others using immortal senses. This was an unwritten rule. If someone forcefully intruded, it would be a taboo and would offend others. It was like an ordinary person closing the door from the inside, but you broke the door and barged in. Qin Wenyan arrived outside Bai Wuya's residence and told a serving girl to report his arrival. After that, he entered Bai Wuya's residence and discovered that there were many people in Bai Wuya's residence. Also, with a single glance, a smile appeared on his face. The people here were all from the heavenly talisman realm. Seems like in times of crisis, the immortal Qianbian Gate's strength wasn't sufficient and ultimately still needed to borrow the strength of the heavenly talisman realm to resist. This was also within his expectations. After all, ever since the Emperor Lord established the immortal Qianbian Gate, the immortal Qianbian Gate and the heavenly talisman realm already had countless ties with the heavenly talisman realm. In addition, the heavenly talisman realm had always given them a mission to assist the immortal Qianbian Gate in destroying the Dongshengshan Gate, unifying the 13 prefectures. If they could really accomplish this, the Eastern Sage 13 prefectures would be renamed as the 1000 Transformations 13 prefectures. Junior brother Qin has returned. Everyone sat there and chatted. When they saw Qin Wenyan walking over, one of them smiled and greeted. This person was none other than the Saber Lord of Death. It has been many years since we last met. Senior brother, you are still as glorious as ever. Qin Wenyan smiled. How am I glorious? As for you, back then when I met you, your cultivation base was so low. Now, you are actually an immortal king about to catch up to me. The Saber Lord sighed. Bai Wuya's judgment is truly impressive. It wouldn't be so easy for me to raise my cultivation base now. Qin Wenyan smiled. He intentionally glanced at the Saber Lord's cultivation base. He was at the mid-stage of the immortal king realm. Back then in the particle world, he could already see the disparity between him and his senior brother Bai Wuya. It was just that he didn't know his exact cultivation level. But now, it seems like Bai Wuya was already at the peak stage of the peak stage back then. Wenyan, there's no need to be humble. Given your cultivation speed, you can indeed make us senior brothers feel ashamed. Bai Wuya sat on the host's seat and smiled. Everyone here was from the heavenly talisman realm. There was no need for him to hide anything. Senior brother, you are already an immortal emperor. Why are you still making fun of me? Qin Wenyan's lips twitched. After that, everyone laughed. One of the immortal kings spoke. The two of you are extremely powerful. Being overly humble would be considered arrogance. Qin Wenyan glanced at this beautiful immortal king and called out, Senior sister. That female immortal king nodded. Is Qingxian doing well? It has been a long time since I last saw her. Qin Wenyan asked. Zi Qingxian was a beautiful maiden who cultivated together with Qin Wenyan and Jun Mengchen back then. As for this female immortal king, she was none other than the immortal king who recommended Zi Qingxian. Back then, Qin Wenyan had met her once and his memories of her were extremely deep. Qingxian is naturally doing well. It's just that the pressure is too great. The female immortal king rolled her eyes at Qin Wenyan. Back then, the three of you roamed the immortal realms together and went to the Dongshengshan Gate to participate in the grand banquet at the Dongshengshan Gate. Your cultivation bases were about the same, but now, you have already broken through to the immortal king realm. Jun Mengchen has also stepped through the gate and the senior brother he recommended is bringing him around to temper himself. Qingxian is the only one who is still lacking. You can't say that Qingxian is lacking. Who asked her to encounter Qin Wenin and Jun Mengchen when she was cultivating? These two fellows are already monstrous existences. It's the same even in our world. To Qingxian, this is pressure but also motivation. Bai Wuya laughed. The female immortal king nodded, feeling depressed in her heart. Back then, she still wanted Zi Qingxian to compete against these two fellows. It could be considered as her competition against Bai Wuya and that old monster. But now, it seems like she lost miserably. That's true. With these two powerful junior apprentice brothers, even us old fellows would feel some pressure. Another immortal king laughed. This time around, they all accepted the same mission, to destroy the Dongshangshan Gate. They naturally had to work together and come to an agreement. Wenyan, there are some masks here. Choose one. Bai Wuya waved his hand as several immortal-ranked masks of various shapes and sizes appeared in the air. Qin Wenyan glanced at everyone in bewilderment. After that, he only heard Bai Wuya laughing. Your senior apprentice brothers would often roam the immortal realms and it's easy for them to be recognized by others. Hence, they would wear masks during combat. If not, with so many immortal kings descending upon the immortal Qianbian Gate, it would be easy for others to be suspicious. Qin Wendian nodded. Such a large number of immortal kings descending would indeed cause others to be suspicious. Senior brother, can I take a few more? Qin Wendian asked, not explaining the Battle Saint tribe. However, Bai Wuya could already guess it. Back then when he was at the Immortal Foundation realm, there were already many people from the Battle Saint tribe around Qin Wenyin. Although he was curious, since Qin Wenyin didn't say anything, he didn't ask about it. Okay, there are still quite a few here. Bai Wuya continued waving his hands. When Qin Wenyin saw this scene, he understood that his senior brother Bai Wuya knew who he was preparing for and had chosen many unique masks for. Wenyin, go and make some preparations. Right now, our strength is all concentrated in the immortal Qianbian Gate. The Dongshangshan Gate is also consolidating their strength and summoning their troops back. Before they surround us, we need to have a few battles to temper ourselves. Just nice, since you have already entered the Immortal King realm, you can use the Immortal Kings of the Immortal Qianbian Gate to temper your combat prowess. Bai Wuya spoke. Qin Wenyin understood his meaning. He wanted to have a small-scale ambush. Qin Wendian nodded. Senior brothers, I will return first. Go ahead. Everyone nodded. Qin Wenyin returned to his own residence. His sense of will enveloped the core region of the residence. Qingqing was waiting for him. When she saw Qin Wenyin returning, she involuntarily smiled and walked over. Everyone is not around, it's so quiet that I'm not used to it. Walking to Qingqing's side, Qin Wenyin cupped her face with his hands as he spoke in a gentle voice. The Great War is imminent, there won't be much time left. Isn't it a wonderful thing to enjoy the world of the two of us? A radiant smile appeared on Mo Qingqing's beautiful face, causing Qin Wenyin to be in a daze. During these years, you were alone outside. It must have been hard on you. Qin Wenyan's voice was gentle. Now that I'm back, how are you going to compensate me? Qingqing had a mischievous look on her face. What compensation do you want? Qin Wenyin had a naughty smile on his face as he winked at Qingqing. It was as though she understood Qin Wenyan's meaning. Qingqing's face instantly turned red. She didn't dare to look him in the eye. She spoke in a low voice. You have bad intentions. I was discovered by my Qingqing. Qin Wenyin hugged Qingqing's soft body as he walked towards the room. Naturally, it was a wonderful scene. You're tuning in to the Passion Pages YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.